And Thrift Barringer.
Good Wednesday morning and welcome everybody to another edition of the SportsVisions Morning Show. I am Walter and Betty Jones's baby boy, Daryl DJ Jones. Coach Bush's grandson, the thrifter Thrift Barringer, is in the building this morning. How you doing?
Good. Coming in on this hump day, hot, ready to roll.
Coming in hot. Speaking of coming in hot, Richard Holdridge is in here, the MVP, or the Swiss Army knife, if you will. Good morning, Richard Holdridge. How are you?
Good morning, DJ. Glad to be in the studio with you guys.
Hey, man, listen, this draft day, the lives will change for some young men for as far as professional basketball is concerned, more namely the NBA. Some guys will have an opportunity to live out a dream, man. I know some of these guys have been thinking about this since they were just knee-high to a pup, as the old folks say. But, you know, the draft is here. The first round will be tonight. And, of course, on tomorrow, the second round will continue. I want to say hello, first of all, to everybody out there in Facebook land. We appreciate you. Of course, joining us here this morning. And again, we want to start your day off. Obviously, it's midweek. It's hump day. Hey, man, look, you've made it. Give yourselves a hand. I really, really appreciate the fact that, guys, you know, this time is going by. And again, I think a lot has to do with the fact that we get to do what we enjoy, guys. And again, not many people can, I say not many, but most people don't enjoy, I guess, having to wake up in the morning and do something that they don't want to do. But for us, man, talking about sports and covering sports and, man, and rewarding young people, that's what we love to do. And I think that's what makes the days go by, even though, you know, there is a little hitch in the giddy up as far as scheduling in the summer months that go by. But anyway, first and foremost, I want to say hello. I appreciate you guys watching. We don't take it for granted. We are here to entertain, inform, and educate you on the goings on in the world of sports. And for all of our friends out there in WLTC HD2, SportsVisions 92.1 land, we love you, but it ain't a damn thing you can do about it.
Hello, somebody.
Guys, let's get this party started, man. The NBA draft thrift. Obviously, this is something that is near and dear to your heart. Obviously, can you imagine the tension and the anxiety? I know other than Cooper Flag for the most part, but, you know, you having a guy, having an opportunity to have your life really just everything that you ever wanted to come true by a phone call from an NBA club.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is obviously unanimously Cooper Flag, but we'll see who some of those other key contributors are going to be and who are going to make trades. It's going to go down tonight. And then next week, free agency. It's about to be a lot of moves happening in the NBA.
Big Rich, can you imagine getting a phone call and, telling you that you will have an opportunity to do something that you've always dreamed of? And this is something that will set your family up. You don't have, it'll be generational wealth, basically, is the number, when you talk about the top picks. To set you up financially for the rest of your life. I mean, can you imagine that?
I can't imagine. It changes lives. It also changes franchises. I mean, when we have sure overall number one picks, we're talking of generational wealth. You're talking about the future face of the league. And it's going to be a great night, just not only for the number one pick, which we expect it to be Cooper Flag going to the Dallas Mavericks, but the other picks, it's just their night to shine. And I can't wait to watch it, and I can't wait to see what goes down and kind of shape up the league for next season.
Well, can't wait to unpack the NBA draft as it concludes a little later in the show, but online, as far as giving you the schedule of today's lineup of interviews that we'll have, of course, backed by popular demand. And again, this has just happened maybe just not even a week ago, but Pierre Coffey, actually a couple of weeks ago, Pierre Coffey has taken a head job down there in Stewart County as the principal. And again, I tell you what, this interview has been the most viewed in the last couple of weeks. It's unreal, but backed by popular demand, wanted to get that back on for you guys to hear exactly how he was able to, I guess, share with everyone his plan. And again, all the wonderful and all the thank yous he had to leave behind. The great takeaway that I have from his interview was the fact that he will be taking Patrick Butler, his good friend, who is his strength and conditioning coach, with him. And he has named him as the athletic director and head football coach. But we'll hear from Coach Pierre Coffey at 6:30, and then a little bit later in the show from WTVM, their sports director, Tony Reese. Tony will be here, and of course, I know that they are in the planning stages of getting ready for the summer football camps for high school football, as they, of course, that is only weeks away. Jack Johnson, the voice of the Columbus Clingstones. Man, the Stones got a big win last night. They are in first place in the Southern Division of minor league baseball. Of course, they're 1-0. That was the first official day of the second half of the season. But the Clingstones were able to get a victory in last night. But Jack Johnson will be with us, and we'll talk about all of that action. And, of course, our good friend Sam Crenshaw. He's a fellow board member with the Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame with myself, but he's also a veteran, a pioneer as far as a sports journalist. This guy has done TV, he's done radio, he has written articles, he is a broadcaster. He is one of my idols, obviously one of my mentors. I'll say that, one of my mentors as opposed to idols. But Sam Crenshaw was one of the first people that I have seen do some of the things that I've been able to do over the past 20, 25 years or so. And that's not just being a sports guy, but again, a guy who's versatile, a guy who is a host for charitable events, a guy who has done pageants. He has been just a guy that, he's the face of a great cause. And we're going to talk to him. He's in Atlanta. And of course, we're going to talk not only about Falcons training camp, but also he is on the team that, of course, broadcasts the Georgia State Panthers football games, and that's, of course, near and dear to our hearts because of the beloved Dale McGee, the former Kendrick Cherokee, and again, Chattahoochee Valley Sports Hall of Fame, who's the head coach at Georgia State. So, guys, we got a nice show lined up for today, and we're going to also have an opportunity to talk about the Braves. The Braves gave the National League East leading New York Mets another kick in the butt, but, hopefully, again, that'll be the straw that stirs the drink with turning around the Braves, Rich.
Yeah, it seems the Braves got the Mets number, and if only they could beat the Marlins. They lose 2 out of 3. But, what a win. Spencer Strider looked fantastic. And if anything, it's really hurting the Mets because now the Phillies are going to overtake the division. But we want to see consistency from the Braves. We want to see them not only beat the good teams, but also beat the mediocre teams, or at least sweep some of the bad teams that are in the league. But it was a good win for the Braves.
The schedule lines up right nicely, Thrift, as the Braves have the opportunity to take care of the New York Mets, and then they're going to come home with the Phillies coming to town over the weekend. So again, this thing by the end of the week, we could really see a drastic change in the numbers or the spectrum of the National League East.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, DJ. And listen, they have something over the Mets, and I don't know what it is. It's just this psychological advantage they have over them, and Mets fans can't stand it. And apparently the Braves can lose everybody but the Mets. They know how to beat them. So hopefully, again, like Richard talked about, this can translate into rattling off a few series in a row in which you win the series, get back above 500, and right in the thick of the playoff race.
A little closer to home, obviously today we'll kick off a flag football tournament, and Richard, you'll be on the scene over there this morning. You and Thrift both, obviously. Rich, what can we count on, or what can we expect from this tournament today?
So we actually have Smith Station, Harris County, Columbus, Jordan, Spencer, Shaw, and I am missing one more. Harris County, Smith Station, Columbus, Jordan, Spencer, and Shaw. That's 6 that will be participating in 7-on-7. Starts early in the morning, and we'll be going till early afternoon, and we'll decide who's going to be that 7-on-7 champion.
So Georgia Alabama Sports Live will be on the scene, and I know you guys will get the first couple of games, or you're going to get all the games?
We're getting the whole tournament. So we're going to go from start to finish, and we're going to have a champion.
Can you give us an understanding of what is that going to take as far as
we are walking in there about as green as can be, DJ. We're walking in there about as blind, but we know where the thing is. We know the venue. We know it is Spencer Stadium. We know where we're setting up. Do we know how it's going to go? No, I've been trying to get information, but information has not been passed to me in my hand. So we're just going to show up and just start broadcasting, and we'll figure it out as we go.
Wow. Again, I tell you, man, that's a tough one. But if anybody can do it, you guys can. I can't imagine calling a basketball game without any rosters, much less a flag football game. I'm sure there'll be a couple of guys that you recognize, guys from last year that are returning. But for the most part, again, I'm sure they won't have on numbered jerseys, and certainly without a roster. Richard, how are you going to do it?
You just got to, for the players that you can obviously call them out during the broadcast. But with the other players, you've got to put filler when you're doing like spring games for football and summer league games for basketball. You got to do filler. You got to talk about the history of what the teams did last year, what we're looking forward to for this upcoming season. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to be a part of it. And, it just really it's a preview of what's to come when it comes to high school football. That's going to be coming just around the corner in a couple of months.
Man, I tell you, again, we had new citywide athletic director on yesterday, Kendall Mills, and obviously Thrift. I'm sure with the relationship that you guys have, obviously this will be a thing of the past when, having an opportunity, having a personal relationship, knowing and understanding how prompt and effective he is, and again, how punctual with regards to, he is now the head or the leader of this particular game of this particular athletic department, which means every event under the sun that happens in Muskogee County with a Muskogee County related school on it, he wears the jersey. He has the Letterman's jacket on. And I know hearing a game like what we're going to hear today, and I'm sure I've heard you guys do games without rosters before.
Yeah.
However, you know what? That's one of the things I think that when you say, "Hey, I need rosters," I think he will be the guy that's going to go to the coaches and say, "Hey, look, man, we got to step it up. This has to happen. We cannot go another day, another event without at least having these guys are coming in, giving us a jam up job. They're upgrading our whole program. So why can't we at least give them what they need?"
I agree with that, DJ. And I know for the regular season, it's going to happen. For summer, what the deal is these coaches just give out random jerseys to the players. Because they don't know what jersey number they're going to be. They're just throwing out what they got, and they're heading on Otis Spencer Stadium. So whatever number they're wearing here in the summer is probably not going to be their number during the regular season. So it's hard to get a roster down pat because they don't have a roster already ready because of the summertime.
Well, again, I'm not going to give a pass on that because again, the quarterbacks and the receivers are the main elements of this particular deal. So coaches can give you a handwritten note prior to the kickoff or prior when they show up if you guys, I'm sure, walk down to the field and say, that can happen, man. It's unexcusable to me, but who am I?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I will tell you, Kendall Mills has come out and said, if you want something promoted, you want something out there, you have to take initiative. So hopefully he get that message out to the coaches about what we need to be successful as a broadcaster. Otherwise, you don't get to complain about your team not getting talked about enough or your players not being promoted the way they need to be, because it is not my job, nor DJ's job, nor Richard's or anybody else in the media when we're 16 schools around here to go and hunt for all this information. Got to work together, and I think we'll be able to do that.
Absolutely. And again, it's not a big deal, obviously, for them to say, or for you to say, "Hey, look, we're gonna wait till we get ourselves together before we do this, guys." But we gotta have this. We're going on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and people everywhere, coaches and scouts and everybody, we're gonna be looking at this information. So the least we can do is make sure that these guys have the proper information so that they can at least effectively and correctly call out the individuals that are doing the playing.
Yeah, I completely agree, because what happens is you've seen in summer basketball, we just keep it generic as possible because, unless we see people that we know, which I try not to just only talk about the people that I know and one person's getting his name called out compared to the other 10 people that are on the court. So, yeah, it makes it for a difficult broadcast for sure, DJ.
Well, Thrift, I don't have a problem again, and that's why I went ahead and said what I said, because I know you're too nice of a guy to really just kind of pound it home. But the truth of the matter is that you guys are working, and you guys need to be at your best. And to be at your best, which you guys are, like I said, going to do a great job without it. But it's just that element of promptness, that element of accuracy. And again, mama and daddy want to hear their baby boy's name called too.
Agree. Yeah, it's very important that not only do we keep professionalism, but we try to give the best broadcast possible. And having rosters, even during the summertime when you haven't really finalized your rosters or your numbers, and players will change numbers. I learned that the hard way when I was calling a summer league basketball game. There was somebody for Russell County that was wearing number 14 who wore number 14 last year, and that was not the player. And I got corrected in the comments on Facebook. So it's very important that we have rosters because we want to give credibility, but we don't want to just focus on the players we know. We want to focus on the players that are maybe just need to get more coverage because they're going to be up and coming players in the spotlight.
All right, I'll leave it at that. And of course, for those people that are hearing this, whether for the first time or whether they be the parents or whether it's the coaches, listen, get mad at me if you like, but obviously I'm just trying to make sure that your kid gets what's due, and that's all we can do. Hey, let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll have more on the SportsVisions Morning Show. You're listening to WLTC HD2, SportsVisions 921. We are your hometown sports guys.
Baby girl, what's happening? You and your ride it, so gonna get to clapping.
You're listening to the SportsVisions Morning Show. SportsVisions 92.1.
Good morning. I'm Rex Castillo. Here's a look at your morning headlines. Nearly 6 years after 19-year-old Anaya Blanchard was murdered, the man accused in her death appeared in court. A judge says it's time to move the case forward for Ibrahim Yazid, despite the defense request to delay the trial until 2026. Prosecutors say they'll be ready when a date is set. Two men, Kelvin Traylor and Reginald Kimbrough, have been indicted on federal charges after a joint investigation into fentanyl trafficking in Columbus. Investigators say Kimbrough led the operation and also faces gun charges as a convicted felon. Columbus police are actively searching for 20-year-old Thomas Reeves, who's wanted for both misdemeanor and felony shoplifting, as well as escape. He was last seen Monday around 4 p.m. near Talbotton Road. Anyone with information is urged to contact 911 or the Columbus Police Department. From WRBL News 3, I'm Rex Castillo. Have a great rest of your day.
Good Wednesday morning. We're off to a very warm start with readings in the mid to upper 70s under a few clouds. And today we do have that heat advisory in effect until this evening for heat index values over the century mark. And those highs, the air temperature reaching the upper 90s again today. This afternoon and evening, rain is back in the forecast. Some of those storms becoming strong to severe. Tonight, mostly cloudy and warm, lows in the mid-70s. More seasonal with afternoon chances of rain in the extended forecast.
I was live streaming makeup tips when my internet went down. My followers were furious. Like, both of them.
Someone damaged the gas line and our service was turned off for safety. Now my chili is ruined and I'm simmering.
As she was digging into my chocolate delight, someone dug through a water main. No water,
No bath.
no delight.
All because my neighbor didn't contact 811.
Be a good neighbor and contact 811 before digging.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys. And I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia. I got a tour of their headquarters. I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Lori's Furniture Express, your express way to save.
It's summertime, and that means it's time for cookouts and company relaxing outside. So that means it's time for you to pay a visit to Gory's luxurious outdoor patio. Shop their beautiful outdoor furniture that's made to last season after season. Sofas, love seats, and even outdoor recliners. And that's only at Gory's Furniture, Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-628-5675. 800-628-5675. 800-628-5675. That's 800-628-5675.
Your home for the Dan Patrick Show, 9 to 12 on SportsVisions 92.1. Now back to the SportsVisions Morning Show. Here's former Green Bay Packer DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Welcome back to the SportsVisions Morning Show. DJ Jones Thrift Barringer and Richard Holdridge. And I have to tell you what, guys, I got on my horse once again because it's so very easy to do. And again, especially when, you're doing it for the right reasons. These kids deserve the best. And you guys are the best at what you guys do, streaming these games. And I said I wasn't going to talk about it anymore. But again, as the more I thought about it during the break, the more I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that, I just wasn't going off and going cohesive for no reason. I mean, I take great pride in, it's just like having a awards luncheon and not getting the names or the stats or anything extra to call a name out and not putting the name of a kid on a trophy or a name of a coach. These are the little details that are so minute, so minor. So rosters and for a 7-on-7 game, rosters for a travel basketball tournament or anything, any summer basketball. I mean, come on, man. Bottom line is you got to have it. I mean, and again, during the regular season, it should step it up a notch. Not only should we just have rosters, we should have depth charts. And of course, going 2-3 deep into the positions, especially if you really want your team talked about, because again, you could talk about the starters and the guys that are making plays, but during the downtime, whether there are underclassmen that are promising, you could always have an opportunity to kind of enlighten and shine the light on kids that might not even be playing on the field at that time, but looking forward to if and for some reason things go wrong and they have to be replaced.
Yeah, typically when those younger players get inserted into the game in the fourth quarter, we try to put the spotlight on them because mainly they're freshmen and sophomores, and that's the future of the team. I mean, if they make a great play, we want to make sure that they actually get noticed, and we'll talk about it on the air. And I think that's very important, especially when you have the different teams. Like we know the starters, but when you go into depth and talk about the reserve players, I mean, it really means a lot to them. And, you get kudos from their parents and their family members. And, it's like, hey, man, I heard you talk about my kid on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Thank you for doing that. And, that really it speaks volumes. It really goes a long way. And it really, it gives us just that light of continuing to want to do this.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about, Thrift, with, again, the streaming. And obviously, this is a new way for these kids to get exposure. And that's a new way, but it's even a more intense way. Again, the streaming service. We've heard coaches and we've heard folks say that, the huddle and all that stuff is pretty much played out. These guys go directly to the streaming services like Georgia Alabama Sports Live and others that do these kinds of games. And again, for the most part, I don't know, I hadn't seen anybody else do any flag football this summer, but you guys, what you get, you're going over and beyond the call of duty to make this happen. So again, want to give you every opportunity to be at your best.
Yeah, no doubt, DJ, and it allows us to do things like this that are special and unique, and glad for the first time wherever we're going to broadcast some football here in the summer. We've never done a 7-on-7, so this is going to be an interesting ordeal, and I'm looking forward to us being there all day, starting early in the morning, because they want to get out of there no later than 1 or 2, because it's going to be hot this afternoon.
And the main reason for me to continue to harp on it, because it's not too late, guys. I mean, like I said, obviously, if a coach is listening or if the athletic director is listening, he can get the instructions to the coach and say, hey, man, get these guys a roster, get these guys a few names, get these guys to make sure that they have some numbers or whatever number you get. I don't give a damn if it's not going to have his regular season number. Whatever jersey you're going to give him today, let these guys in the booth know that this will be, who's going to be at quarterback, who's going to be at receiver, who's going to be at running back. These are the guys that are going to be making the plays, so that will make your broadcast more effective.
Exactly right. And it makes it where these kids can get, we're trying to give them exposure in the first place, but then their name's not being called out. We want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Mom, Dad, that's where you can get in the scene, obviously, because you're the ones going to be watching later and wanting to know. And then your baby's out there making plays. And again, that extends on to even the next level. So, hey, you now I think you got the point, guys. We can move on. Big shout outs to the Columbus Clingstones, obviously, coming home. Man, those guys lost 10 in a row on the road. It was unbelievable. Then, of course, as they closed out the first half. But the fact of the matter is, like you said, Thrift the other day, that they have a first half and a second half, and of course the slates are clean for the second half. Started out again, beating up on Biloxi, the Shuckers, and man, let me tell you something. My two guys came to the top of the heap with regards to making sure that the Clingstones were victorious. Ian Mejia and Ethan Workinger. Workinger, his 11th homer of the year. Ian Mejia, of course, had the longest, best pitching stint that he's had. 8 shutout innings, man, and just a great performance.
Yeah, 8 scoreless innings from Ian Mejia, a 1-0 victory over Biloxi, and yeah, even though it's the first game of the second half, they are in first place in the Southern Division. Got 5 more games. I know we got Wet Nose Wednesday coming up. You got to bring your friend, your canine friend. I don't know. I haven't seen a whole lot of dogs there, but I haven't been to a game on Wednesday. But Thursday, I'm actually taking the family to Synovus Park.
Great.
Then that's gonna be the first time. Now they've been to Chattahoochee games at Golden Park, so they're very familiar with going to baseball games. So I'm excited about that. Of course, it's Military Thursday, so I actually got to go to the box office to purchase the tickets because you got to show your military ID. I'm actually sitting there on the Clingstones website thinking, okay, now how do I purchase these tickets and get half off on these tickets? But yeah, I got to go to the box office. So I'm actually looking forward to a great weekend of baseball. We hope to have big crowds at Synovus Park, and they're off to a good start.
Absolutely. And of course, we already have heard that, the home record as far as minor league baseball stadium attendance is, they've already been through the roof. But, based on what I was able to hear yesterday, that was a strong crowd yesterday. And again, the thing about it is that we mentioned the 10-game losing streak. They won the game, actually the last game to end the series on Sunday. And of course, which led to them opening up. But you know what? It's nothing like winning in front of your home fans, because again, you know what? Some of the fans might have heard that they lost or not if they listened to us. But, the fact of the matter is that getting off to the first, a big win, especially with your ace and your slugger, performing at the level that they are, man, that gets everybody in a good mood. And again, for the next 5 days now, they have a reason to go down and want to cheer. And again, they want to see the Clingstones.
Yeah, exactly. And I had someone ask me about the attendance and everything else, and it's been through the roof, obviously. And now, hopefully, the second half, the Clingstones can get back to some winning ways and be competitive and atop the standings in the Southern League.
Absolutely. And again, as far as and we had been talking about in weeks past about really trying to get and feel for these guys and get a hometown, or at least some of the favorites, man. Like I said, and they don't get any bigger than that. The 2 best players in my mind is, of course, when we talk about Mejia, the ace, as well as Workinger. This is special. You couldn't have written the script any better. Here we are at the halfway point. Workinger has 11 home runs, which is this is he had his 6th home run against last night against Biloxi. He's that's what they're playing, the Shuckers. He had 6 home runs against the Shuckers alone. So it's great. And then of course Mejia, it's just a matter of time before we know he gets to call up. We're gonna hate to see him go, but you know what? We can't say that he cut his teeth in Columbus.
Yeah, and this guy looks like he's about 35, but he's only 24, 25, and he is a dynamite pitcher. Him and Workinger have been my 2 favorite players for sure. And looking forward to seeing how the Clingstones is going to play out the rest of the weekend.
Actually, the game that you called and you filled in for Jack Johnson, was that the game that Workinger went off?
Yeah, and Mejia was actually pitching.
Wow.
So maybe that's the reason why I love those 2 guys, because of my experience calling the one game I did. And Mejia was sensational on the mound, and Workinger hit 3 home runs. That a video that I was able to call went viral.
If you can't make it down to the stadium, of course, we are the home of the Columbus Clingstones right here on SportsVisions 92.1. 7:05 is, of course, first pitch. And, of course, make sure that you tune in if you can't make it down. Hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from the new principal of Stewart County High School and, of course, the former George Washington Carver Tiger State champion, Pierre Coffey. You're watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2 SportsVisions 921. This is the SportsVisions Morning Show.
The way I did it worked out fine. Ooh, God, you blessed. Hey, man, probably ain't believe me. Going through it. Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for waking up with the SportsVisions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer. Catch me at 9 a.m. every weekday morning, right here on SportsVisions 92.1.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-810-3588. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-810-3588. 800-810-3588. 800-810-3588.
At the YMCA, finding your why starts by making an impact together, touching lives for the better. It can be the gift of time or treasure, supporting a community through talent without measure. Here, compassion fuels commitment, finding fulfillment through enrichment, serving and improving. What a way to live, and what a gift it is to give. Find your why and get involved today at ymca.org for a better us.
Hey there, fellow travelers. It's me, the Hotel Whiz. Before you go anywhere, call me day or night for hotel rates too low to publish. I'll save you up to 75% on over 500,000 hotels across the globe. You see, I've already done the research, so you don't have to spend time online trying to find the best deal. That's up to 75% off. Just call me, the Hotel Whiz. It's a free call, and you get instant access to rates too low to publish with no cancellation fees.
Make a free call now and save up to 75% off your hotel rooms the next time you're going somewhere for business or pleasure. Call the Hotel Whiz now and get instant access to rates too low to publish.
800-710-3739. 800-710-3739. 800-710-3739. Call the Hotel Whiz right now at 800-710-3739.
Attorney advertising, Georgia. Attorney 770, good law car accident lawyers. Paid after dramatization. Hot dog does not mean we are the best. No guarantees of success.
You want to blame everybody but yourself. It's actually all your fault. And you know it is. As you lay in that hospital bed right now and cry, you understand what type of pain you're going through. See, you in critical condition. You hoping you make it. But the person you hit, they in critical condition too. You hoping they make it. And you was intoxicated. You was drunk. You going to jail. You better hope they make it. Y'all in the same hospital. Y'all in the same room. He right next to you. Y'all both in the same room. You hear him on the phone. He calling Top Dog, telling the dog to go bite, calling Top Dog. He telling them the story, how a drunk person hit him, how he hurt real bad, how he right next to him. Any accident, big or small, you call the dog, Top Dog Law.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the AHSAA and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
You're listening to the SportsVisions Morning Show, brought to you by Global Diagnostic Services and the Finley Firm. Now back to DJ and Thrift on SportsVisions 92.1.
It doesn't stop here, man. We are going to introduce you to a young man who has done quite a bit here in, of course, a short period of time. His name is Pierre Coffey. He's the new principal at Stewart County High School. And, of course, he is the reigning state championship coach of the George Washington Carver Tigers. Coach, good morning and welcome to the SportsVisions Morning Show. How are you doing?
Good morning. How are you guys?
Wonderful, man. You're looking mighty spiffy there. You're looking like the administrator that you are.
Right. Yeah, I guess my work attire changed a little bit.
Just a little bit, Coach. Now I know you like to get dapper. You have, of course, you're a noob. He's Thrift. Did I tell you he's a member of the Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated?
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Hey, look, man. Congratulations once again.
Thanks, sir.
It's been. We're so proud of you. First of all, obviously, you hadn't even had opportunity to really thoroughly celebrate your state championship, and yet you're making big moves, man. We're proud of you, man. And when do you start on the job down there?
So my first official day is July 1. However, I've been in the building, meet with my administrative team, the teachers, the Alumni Association. I actually been down there since June 2nd. So when you got a task like this, you got to go and roll your sleeves up and get to work. So, I try not to, leave much time to just kind of sit around and ponder. I went ahead and got into the work. So.
Absolutely. That's the only way to do it. That's what coaches do, head coaches in particular, man. You guys have to keep that schedule busy. But listen, man, I mean, you got this big job, and obviously everybody's excited for you. But, the football coach, and you're a young football coach as well. And again, I just, I have to ask you this because I know I've seen it. I've been around it. That itch doesn't leave overnight.
No, you're right. It doesn't. However, I've been blessed in my coaching career. 19 years in education, and 17 of those I've been coaching, 8 of them as a head coach. And so I've had the opportunity to, play in some wars with some great teams around the state. I've had the opportunity to play in frigid, cold, extreme heat, pour downs. I've gotten the whole gamut. So, I miss coaching a little bit, but I get the opportunity to kind of, see the football team at my school and go out and kind of mentor those coaches and mentor those kids. So, I don't think it'll be something that, just also that itch is so overbearing to the point I want to jump back in it. But, I get the opportunity to kind of, see some football and be around some coaches.
The other question I got to get out of the way, just because, here we are. You have obviously moved on after winning a state championship. You made the move to Stewart County. Then all of a sudden, there's a vacancy at the school you just won a state championship. Right. Did you ever think, is the ink too dry for us to offer you to come back home? Being the principal at Carver High School, obviously that I don't know how. I'm sure that played out. That didn't have anything to do with it, but. That's an interesting situation, and just how everything without further ado.
Right, it is. It is, and with, like Mr. Lindsay, 20 years, and man, he did a lot of work, a lot of good work at Carver High School. To the things that he's done at Carver. In 20 years as a principal in one place in today's society is almost unheard of. So, hats off to him. I'm so excited for his journey and his move, and so I know right now. It's some uncertainty, but one thing about Carver and one thing that intrigued me about Carver High School, even just coming to Columbus, Carver is a very close-knit family. Carver is always going to be fine. There's great alumni support, of course, like yourself and others. And so Carver is just one of those places, it's going to be successful because it over and over and over and over again, Carver has stood the test of time.
You got into this teaching and coaching, and then about 10 years ago, you decided you wanted to go into administration. You had your first job and being an assistant principal, but then you got back into coaching. But I feel like that calling of being an administrator, being an overseer for the entire school was still in you. You just felt like now was the right opportunity to take over a county that is in desperate need of some changes, and you feel like you can help Stewart County and the high school system there?
Absolutely. 10 years ago when I wanted to go be an assistant principal at Baker Middle School, it's a little different. You're the assistant, so you kind of follow in the lead of the principal. But now, as a principal, I get a chance to, it's my school. And so I'm extremely excited and happy, about this opportunity. One thing about the elementary and the middle school, they have some phenomenal CCRPI scores. It's some really good kids there, really good people, really good teachers, and I'm just excited about the growth and what the future holds for Stewart County. They call it the Stew, so I'm excited about that. All right, I like that a lot. If you're just joining us, of course, Pierre Coffey is our guest here this morning on the SportsVisions morning show. Coach, what I like more so, let me do this too. Are we going to still call you Coach, or are we just going to call you Mr. Coffey? Whichever. They call me Doc down there. So
Doc. Yes, sir. That's right.
You got your doctor now. That's Dr. Coffey.
Right. But what I've already, admired about you on this short tenure that you've been the principal, you've already reached back and came to help somebody else in that has been a part of your program. Again, you brought on, of course, Butler.
Yep.
And, that's as your athletic director. So that right there, that was worth its weight in gold for you to get the promotion and to get to take over that leadership role there. But you reached back and you got Patrick Butler, your strength and conditioning coach, and made him the AD.
Absolutely. He's going to do a phenomenal job. He's already down there kind of working the kids out, just getting this plan in place as far as athletics. And then, I'll be able to kind of, even help cultivate that a little bit more just with my years of experience as an athletic director. So I'm extremely excited. Micaiah Israel, he's my defensive back coach at Carver. He's going to be the defensive coordinator there. And there's a couple other guys. I won't let the cat out of the bag, but I got a couple other guys from the area that's going to be able to come down and I think make a immediate impact. And so, like I said, I'm extremely excited. And, one thing about me in my career, I pride myself on just being patient and listening to God and move when God tells me to move. So, this is kind of one of those opportunities I think that, God has work for me to do in Stewart County.
Principal, being, of course, appointed principal is one thing, but tell us a little bit about what that community, what struck you to be able to want to go and be a part of that community in administration on the education side.
Well, just over the years, like even through coaching, I've come in contact with a lot of people from that Richland and Lumpkin area. Some phenomenal athletes that that I've coached and come in contact with through that area, through that time. With that area through the years. And it's just my years at Chatco, because Chattahoochee Casita is so close to Richland and Lumpkin, I met a lot of people there. And so, people that I stayed in contact with, and, with this opportunity coming open, it was something, once it was offered, I kind of jumped on it. I thought it would be a great opportunity to go and cultivate what's already been started there.
Your impressive background in education is one that really I brag about it all the time. But I wanted you to do it because nobody can do it as eloquently as you. Is to, of course, start from where you went to high school and, of course, college and graduated up into what gave you the credentials to be the principal that you are now. Just walk us through that.
Right. So I graduated from Central High School in Tarleton, Georgia, and the village and the educational system there was phenomenal when I was there. Like our teachers, they were like family. I got the opportunity to speak at our alumni banquet about a week ago. I was a guest speaker, and it just brought back a lot of memories. It was a feeling of nostalgia. I was able to just kind of sit there and take that moment in. But when we were there, like the teachers, they were all like aunties. They were all like grandmothers, and we had that village and that structure. And they didn't settle for second, and they didn't allow us to, settle for less. And so that's why I graduated high school from. And then I went to Tuskegee University over in Tuskegee, Alabama. And, from there, I started teaching at Greenville High School in Meriwether County in 2007. Our principal was named Miss Brenda Hudson, but the head coach that I coached for was Jeremy Williams, the late great with Jeremy Williams. So I learned so much from him. I got my master's degree from the University of Phoenix, and then I got a specialist from Capella University in educational leadership. And by this time I'm in Columbus. I was at Carver, my first stint at Carver. And when I went to Baker Middle School, fast forward going to Baker Middle School as assistant principal, great guy named Mr. Reginald Williamson. He's a Carver alumni, and he used to be the principal at Rothschild. He told me, he said, Coffee, you in education, and you in leadership, and you got quite a bit of time left. He said, man, you need to go ahead and start working on your doctorate. Because I was done with school. I got my specialist, and I said, I'm a finish here. And, just me seeing Mr. Williamson every day, and he was a great mentor for me. And he just kept pushing the needle. I'm telling you, Coffee, go ahead and go back and get your doctorate. And so while I was at Baker, I started working on my doctoral in educational leadership. And when I got to Chatco, I actually finished in 21. So, and that's from Liberty University. So over the years, I've been a lifelong learner. I've always been intrigued just by making myself better and being able to, help others, just through my walk.
Can you help explain to the listening audience about Seward County? I was honestly on a map looking where it's at. It's in Lumpkin, Georgia, right below us, Casita. So can you kind of explain? I know they're a single A team in the 1A classification. Explain the Knights and what's to be expected if they come out to a basketball or football game or whatever it may be.
Absolutely. So if you're in Columbus and you go down Victor Drive and you hit 520 and you keep riding, in about 40 minutes, you're going to be in Lumpkin. Well, excuse me, you're going to be in Richland, and the school is between Richland and Lumpkin, and that's in Stewart County. One thing that you're going to be able to expect is, that one town, one school, one town atmosphere. Hopefully on Friday nights, we're going to shut it down, and on Tuesday and Friday, Saturday nights, the gym is going to be packed. They have a new school. A brand new gym, a new weight room. And so hopefully we're going to be able to, put some people in some seats and pack that place out. I want to be a beacon of change, especially with the culture and the climate and getting people to have great pride. And a lot of people do. I met the president of the Alumni Association about a week ago, and there's some very proud Stewart County alumni that's even in this area. A lot of them have migrated up to Columbus. And so, I just want to, bring that pride back and make sure that we have, a sold out crowd each Friday, Tuesday, and Saturday nights. And then, when we have our different content nights for math night, social studies night, ELA night, even from an instructional standpoint, that we have great support there. So, that's my goal, to just be a beacon of change with the culture and the climate.
Dr. Coffey, you are quite accomplished. You've done a ton. You just, I guess, eloquently explained all of the levels of your academic success. You're a state champion. But out of all those titles, what would you be if you only could have one? Would it be champion? Would it be doctor? What would it be?
I just believe in being a visionary, being a trailblazer, not being scared of a challenge. People through different decisions that I've made in my career, I've had, the naysayers say, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And I just believe that, God, when he gets you, when he prepares you and your feet are ready to move, you got to move. And so, I think that's what I hang my hat on, not being scared of a challenge and being a trailblazer and a visionary.
Dr. Coffey, I know that we talk about, your mindset in the transition, but you got a family, you got a wife and kid, and talk about how they were able to help adjust and help you be comfortable in this decision.
Absolutely. So my wife is actually, like the Carver Spencer rivalry. My wife is actually the principal at Quitman County, and Stewart Quitman used to be together. It was one. So now my rival is my wife's school. So we get the opportunity to talk a little trash here, at home and bounce ideas and all that type of stuff off each other. And then my daughters, I have a 22-year-old son and I have a 5-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old daughter. And one thing that I'm excited about, just even with this transition, I get a little more time on the weekends, and during the summers, hopefully to, kind of pour in them. My 5-year-old, she's a avid gymnast. Like, she's on the competition team at Gymnastics Unlimited. So, I get the opportunity to be, a dad for a change and not coach. So I'm excited about that.
I do got to ask, man, and someone that has a girlfriend that runs a school, really good friends with Corey Black that runs a school. It's hard finding good educators. It's hard finding good teachers. Yeah. Are you intrigued about that and about hiring and I wouldn't say firing, but more hiring and finding teachers, that believe in your vision, man. So that aspect of the new job.
So I've been lucky. I got a full staff. I had to fill pretty much the athletic department, and then one or two in special ed positions and an art position. But through the summer, just right here, even in the month of June, I've had the opportunity to fill all those positions. And it wasn't many. A lot of folks, they love working there, and so they stay put. So I didn't have many positions to fill, but the few that I did, I've filled them. So, I'm excited about that, excited about, just having a close-knit staff and a staff that's experienced and a staff that understands, what my vision is. And, hopefully we together, we can be that beacon of change.
Doc, I have a couple of people here that have been on Facebook, and they wanted to say hello. Congratulations coming from Ben Watson. He said, thanks for mentoring. You provided him at George Washington Carver High School as a teacher, And he also says that he is definitely eligible to become your assistant principal should you need one.
Absolutely.
I just actually threw that on the end. But yeah, it's amazing. I know you probably heard from everybody, from coaches to players, to former player, alumni, and a lot of folks out there. But the main thing about it is, man, that sometimes you know when your assignment is completed, and in my mind, your assignment was completed, and you went out in style by going out in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta as the champion of the GHSA Class 2A. And, you don't go out any better than that, man.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and it's always bittersweet because those guys at Carver, those are my guys, and that team, man, I'm telling you, it is extremely good coming back. So, I get a chance to celebrate those guys and support.
Had a little short delay there, but anyway, as we talk about that, if we go ahead and we'll double take that up there. Yeah, that screen. But anyway, we'll get him back.
Oh, there he is.
We'll get him back. Yeah, got him back. Got you back.
I apologize. And what I was saying was, those are my guys, and I get a chance to, still kind of support them on Friday nights. I still kind of talk to all of them, here and there with FaceTime or I call or they'll call me. My thing is, go finish the assignment, and I tell them, I say, they're good enough to go and hopefully try to win it again. And so, just because I'm not there, that doesn't change anything. I think they're in great hands. Every time I've had the opportunity to speak with Jarvis over the years, he's been a stand-up guy, a great guy. He's always showed us love when we went up to the University of Georgia. And so, I know they're in good hands, and I'm excited about the future for them as well.
I really get to talk about this. Your wife, Swanda, who's now going to be the principal at Quitman, man, this is really pretty cool. The fact that y'all both are going to be principals at rival schools that are literally really close to each other. How unique is this, man? And is it pretty cool? Y'all get to, go to different jobs, but y'all know how it feels to be in each other's shoes because you're basically doing the same job at different schools.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think it is unique to have that kind of, dynamic. And, like I said, we kind of tease each other all the time about, being at the rival school, but it's a great person to be able to, just kind of bounce ideas off of, and we bounce ideas off each other all the time. And so, that's another added piece, I think, that makes it a little more exciting. Matter of fact, I think we actually, because it used to be Stewart Quitman during basketball season, they almost have like a shared homecoming with both schools. So, I think that's unique.
Dr. Coffey, you may mention that you took, of course, Butler down there with you as your AD. Now, who would be your football coach?
He's also going to serve the role as a head football coach.
Great. Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. That's a great thing. Yeah.
I think we just broke that here on SportsVision Live.
Okay. All right. That's right. So Patrick Butler, the former strength and conditioning coach at George Washington Carver Tigers, is now the head football coach and athletic director at Stewart County High School. That is super, super fantastic. Listen, man, just a couple of more questions as it pertains to, the transition. I know you may mention that how good the relationship that you had with Jarvis, but what would be your advice leaving the program, and you left it better than when you came? But what would be your advice to Jarvis? Obviously, now, again, I had Coach Chris Lindsay on yesterday, and he's gone on to Central, and, of course, you are no longer there. But what would be your advice to Jarvis in order to encourage him and to help him with, of course, his success at Carver High School?
I think at the end of the day, and I know this sounds cliche, but it's just kind of keep the main thing. Like, you can't start a season with the end in mind in regards to, like, we got to win a state championship. You take it week by week, day by day, and you just continue to chop at the wood, and the results will come. But don't get caught in the hype of, okay, well, the team won a state championship last year, and, all the different talk, from different people. You just kind of take it each day, each hour, each practice, each week, and the results will come. And just, holding the kids accountable. I think we did a really good job of that last year, just holding the kids accountable, and they're very close-knit, and they stepped up to the plate. And one thing I know about, the football team and the football players and the kids at Carver High School, they're going to step up to the plate. That's what they do. So, I think he's going to be fine. I think he got a really good staff around him, and, he's a great dude. So I wish him nothing but the best there.
I'll tell you, Coach, if you believed in all that game-by-game hype, you wouldn't even made it to the state championship. You were done after that Harris County loss, Coach. Remember that? So I think he needs to adhere to those words that it is game-by-game, and everyone else in this community needs to adhere to those words. Take it week by week. You never give up on a team early.
Exactly. Because that was a total different team that played Harris County. 100%. And then the next week when they played Northside, I think maybe we might have had a bye in between. That was a totally different football team. So that just goes back to what I'm saying, week by week, day by day, and, the results will come.
Coach Coffey, everybody's excited, and, of course, you have done really, really well. But my last question is it's a question and it's a statement. Okay. What you have done for the Isaiah Crowell Youth Football Camp each and every summer for the past 3-4 years or so has been incredible. And, of course, some of your speeches to the kids have gone viral with the gut. Now, the dilemma is, now that you're the principal down there, and, again, we are still wondering who would be the person to step in to do that job as far as, being the camp leader as far as the coaches. And you have done such a tremendous job. Do you have any recommendations?
Oh, I think there's some great young guys out there. You got Jarvis coming in, you got Patrick Butler, you got some folks. And then one thing about us, DJ, man, we're family. You tell me, Coach, I need you, Doc, I need you to put your coaching hat back on for a Saturday to come out there and be with the kids. I got you, brother. You don't even have to ask that, So I most definitely show up and do what we do. So you give me a date and I'm there.
Brother, you have made my day. I tell you, because I was worried about that. I was worried about it.
No, not at all.
We'll talk, buddy. We'll talk, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, man, you have a great rest of your day, and congratulations again.
Thanks again, Coach.
Thank you, fellas, and y'all have a great day as well.
If it's local, it's on the SportsVisions Morning Show with former Georgia Bulldog DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Corey's Furniture Express, your express way to save.
If you're looking for furniture, you need to shop Gorey's Furniture Express. It's the largest furniture store around with over 106,000 square feet of in-stock merchandise with new shipments arriving weekly. Locally owned and operated with everything you need from rugs to recliners to sofas and more. And that's only at Gorey's Furniture, Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
Employee pricing for all is still going strong at Rivertown Ford in Columbus. Through July 7th, we're extending your opportunity to pay what we pay across the entire lineup of in-stock Ford trucks and SUVs. Tap into the powerful capabilities of any 2024 Ford F-150 with financing as low as 3.9 APR for 72 months, plus up to $2,750 in retail bonus cash and $1,000 trade assistance on top of already low employee pricing. Or take the whole family on epic adventures with employee pricing on all 2024 Ford Expeditions. Unlock even more unbelievable savings with up to $4,000 customer cash plus 2 years or 24,000 miles prepaid maintenance as you travel in style and comfort. From America, for America. Get outstanding Ford performance at employee prices with Rivertown Ford in our showroom or online at rivertownford.com. Offer ends July 7th, 2025. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete details.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband. He lost weight. More important, cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend went and she lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months. So does Mark Patrick hypnosis work? Oh yeah, it works. Nothing has changed my life more. Well, except maybe my husband. He's so proud of me. Makes me cry.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. That's right. Weight loss seminar Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at North Lake in Columbus at 5:30 p.m. Registration starts at 5 p.m. Stop smoking seminars at 8 p.m. with registration at 7:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Shop 4th of July savings at the Home Depot right now for up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $600 off select appliances like Samsung. From all-in-one washer dryers to smart refrigerators, upgrade your tech and simplify your routine and celebrations. Don't miss the 4th of July appliance savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Offer valid June 18th through July 9th, U.S. only. See stores or online for details.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
My car.
but what you really need to say is something that can actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And just like that, State Farm is there to help you file your claim right on the State Farm mobile app. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
WLTC HD2 Casita and W221DP Columbus. You're listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1. You're waking up with a Sports Visions Morning Show on Sports Visions 92.1. Now back to former Green Bay Packer DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
It's something about the way you stare into my eyes. I know that I don't make things clear.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer, and Richard Holdridge. Big shout out to Pierre Coffey, Dr. Pierre Coffey. He is now the principal of Stewart Quitman High School. That's K through 12. And, of course, looking for big things to come from the Stewart County High School and all the folks that will have an opportunity to come under his tutelage and under his mentorship. And we're so proud and thankful that we've had an opportunity to cover and have a relationship with Pierre Coffey. Thrift, I know that, the sky's the limit for this guy. But again, I as I asked him in that interview, he's still a young guy, even though he has a lot of years in and he's been, boots on the ground in the systems for some 18, 20 years. But the fact of the matter is he's a football coach at heart. And I don't know many coaches, young or old, that don't get that itch to come back. And sometimes, it's just, but again, we'll play it out and see how it goes. And, but I'd be really surprised if a few years from now that somehow, somewhere we're here that Pierre Coffey has gotten an opportunity and maybe at the next level. I don't know, but it's something to think about.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think too, when these guys go into the admin role, kind of like with Kendall Mills, they may be aspiring to move on to the college level and getting their administration, being involved as an AD, a coach, and then now a principal. That gives you more opportunities to continue moving up in your career, and I expect that for Coach Coffey.
706-324-1420 is the number to call. We thank you so much for your responses on all the great conversations that we have with a lot of the people that are involved in athletics around the city. And we pride ourselves on not just talking to players and coaches, and we talk to administrators, we talk to leaders in this community, especially if, in fact, you have something to do with athletics. And again, that's what we're here for. We want to make this community better. Speaking of making the community better, we had Chris Smith on the other day, and we were talking in particularly not only about his program at Pacelli, with, of course, he's the middle school head football coach. He's also a part, he's assistant coach on the varsity squad, but he was also the former president of Sally Little League. And I know we are talking about the celebration that we had last year where Truist and the Braves came down to help them out and had a big celebration. Pete Lavin and, of course, the council person, Toya Luckett was down out there. And we went over some of the things. And, again, the tarps and a lot of the things that were affecting the field as far as the flooding and whatnot. Was given some relief and some equipment was given, but we also found out that some batting cages were a part of the deal that did not, go through fruition. And I told Chris, he explained and expounded on that and they said something about something technical or legal got involved with land and the city and this and that. So again, not being satisfied, because I know that the batting cages are a necessity and are key to the development of young baseball players, both girls and boys. Wanted to go a little further, so made a phone call or two, and so hopefully I got that in motion, and hopefully we can get that going again, so that we can revisit the fact that, again, if somebody's going to come in and give you donate, some facilities or some equipment or some resources to our kids, we got to do everything we can to make sure that we can be the beneficiaries and be, of course, have those kids can benefit from that.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm glad you had Chris on yesterday, and he's done an amazing job at Sally. And he decided it was time to kind of move forward and let someone else take the reins, but he's leaving it in a really good place, and looking forward to seeing him on the football field as he's excited about those Vikings this year.
Absolutely. Guys, it is what it is. The NBA draft is today, and very much like the NBA Finals, it was just not the same, I guess, excitement. I mean, I don't know if, again, it is a draft day today. And again, is it fair to compare the NBA draft to the excitement that we get from the NFL draft?
No,
I wouldn't.
No, not at all. The NFL draft, that is an event. It's in different places. I think the NBA draft's been at the Barclays Center for years. It's been in New York and that area. I think that if the NBA just hyped up the NBA draft like they did with the NFL draft, it's not long enough. And when you get into the second round, it's a crapshoot. It's hit or miss. I mean, there's been some great second round players that have gone on and become Hall of Famers in the NBA. There's even been some undrafted players, but usually that first round, those first couple of picks are projected to be superstars, changing franchises. And then when you get into the bottom of the lottery picks and the bottom of the first round, they might be lucky just to become a role player.
Is the NBA draft one that warrants being held 2 days? First round today, second round tomorrow. I mean, why not just take a whole? I mean, I know, and I get it. I get it. You want to drag it out. You want to give more time, more content, more advertising space, and So, but again, I think that's a stretch.
Yeah, I think it is a stretch too, and especially when they've done it in years past in one day. I tell you, this all-season moves and the trades that have been going down here the last couple of days. Now you got people making headlines that, do the Nuggets trade Nikola Jokic? Is it time for them to sell high for the best player in the NBA, or it's one of the best players? Maybe the NBA draft may not get near as much, I think, debate, because it's a foregone conclusion. Cooper Flagg's going number one. So I think now, in years past, like, who's going number one? That's why people talked about it when Bill was Banchero, Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren. I don't think there's any discussion this year. That's why I don't think it's been talked about near as much, because we know Cooper's going number one, and we probably know Dylan Harper's going number two.
I tell you what, teams don't come out and admit that they're tanking on the season, but we've seen teams that kind of just having a fire wholesale, like what the Boston Celtics are doing, getting rid of Kristaps Porzingis. They're looking to finalize a trade to get him to the Hawks. Drew Holiday going to the Blazers. We know that Jason Tatum's going to be out for a year. I'm wondering if the Boston Celtics are just rebuilding this year to possibly get a lottery pick for upcoming drafts. I know Dallas got lucky because they had one ping pong ball and they get the number one pick. And Cooper Flagg, he's that sure number one pick. But I'm interested to see, like, the San Antonio Spurs with the number two pick. Are they going to get that point guard from Dylan Harper? Are they going to get him from Rutgers or BJ Edgecombe? I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm not just going to be focused on Dallas getting Cooper Flagg. I'm interested to see the other rounds. The Hawks do have a pick. They gave up one of their picks, the 22nd pick, to the Brooklyn Nets. I believe that 3-team trade. It's not finalized yet, but that's getting some headlines leading up to the draft.
Well, the Hawks do have the 13th pick as well. But let's talk about this for a minute. Let's chop it up with you talk about Kristaps Porzingis. What can he bring to the Hawks? I mean, based on everything that you guys have seen and everything you guys know about what the Hawks have been over the past couple of years, Porzingis coming in, what element, Thrift, does he add?
to be honest with you, he is a 7-foot guy that can play defense, block shots, hit threes from the outside, got a good post-up game, good 15 feet it in. He's got soft touch. He is actually an underrated defender. I say all that, and then I say he barely plays any games. He's constantly hurt, and why are we trading for him? I can't make any sense of it, other than maybe we're going to get rid of Capella. Now you're adding someone that they think maybe with Trae Young and him in a two-man game, pick and roll, pick and pop. I'm trying to find the answer to that solution too, because you're bringing in a guy who has been injured. He played 42 games this past year. DJ, he played 57 the year before. He only played in the playoffs this year. He did play 6 games, but remember, he was hurt, so he put 4.2 points a game against the Knicks. Played all 6 games and only put up 4 points a game because, again, the injuries. And even last year, he had a really good NBA Finals, and then he got hurt again. It's just, I don't know why they would go out and trade for a guy that's been injury-prone, and he is also 29 years old, so he's turning 30 this August. I don't see him getting any healthier as he gets older, so kind of head-scratcher for the Hawks to make this trade.
And this clearly was a salary dump move by the Boston Celtics. He's got an expiring contract. $30 million. If he plays well, and let's hope, fingers crossed, that he plays the majority of games, 60 to 80 games. That's just wishful thinking. We're optimistic as Hawks fans. We think with a healthy Kristaps Porzingis that they could be a legitimate contender in the Eastern Conference. But he does have an expiring contract. That is something to think about. Maybe the Hawks can get him a long-term deal. But I think that with Kristaps Porzingis, I think Clint Capella is going to be gone. I still like Onyeka Okongwu. He's going to be coming in and being that starting center if Kristaps cannot make it. Remember, they're getting Jalen Johnson back. Zachary Reese is going to continue to improve. I like this move on paper, and I know I was looking at message boards, and Hawks fans are they are getting excited. We were excited about DeJounte Murray. We thought that the backcourt of Murray and Young equaled Eastern Conference Finals at least for the Atlanta Hawks. So, fingers crossed on this one. Hopefully it works out.
Keeping it right here with the NBA guys. I don't know what's going on in Boston, but it looks like it's going to be a fire sale. Obviously, Derek White as well as Jalen Green supposedly are on the trading blocks. And I know that the salary that Green he's only 23, 24 years old and one of the best players in the league. But, of course, the major injury to the superstar player, obviously, I guess the owners, they just bought. The Boston Celtics were just sold. So the new ownership group probably, again, and, when the new guys come in, you want to go ahead and get lean and knowing that, obviously, they're not going to make the playoffs next year, or they're not going to make a good run. We're losing their best players. So, again, I guess you can unload all of your top talent and try to start all over.
Yeah, Wick Grusbeck was the owner who had his dad also was an owner of the Celtics for a long time, and he sold to Bill Chisholm for $6.1 billion. And so when they come in, their immediate thinking is, do we continue with this roster knowing Tatum's probably going to be out for either the entire year or majority of the year next year? Or do we go ahead and be proactive, knowing that Drew Holiday's on the backside of 35? Maybe let's send him to a contender that can win now. Porzingis has barely played for us. Let's get him out of here. And Jaylen Brown's been on the trade block for 6 years in a row now, it seems like, even with signing that mega $300 million contract. I can see them trying to maybe trade him out. So we'll see what's happening with the Celtics. I do know the East is up for grabs next year. Now with Halliburton out, with this Tatum out, you don't know about the 76ers. Is Giannis going to be traded from the Bucks? And that's why I'm thinking the Hawks, I get why in their mind, we're only a piece or two away from being a contender in an Eastern Conference that's wide open. I don't know why they thought that piece was Kristaps Porzingis. That's the only thing I'm questioning. Not the trade to go get someone. It's the trade to get someone that barely plays, and you have to pay him $30 million, and he may even play half your games.
No, you brought up Milwaukee and Giannis, and I want to pump the brakes a little bit because I found out a little bit more information that just makes sense to me with regards to Milwaukee moving Giannis, and in fact that Giannis even wants to leave with regard, that from what I understand, and I hadn't been to Milwaukee in years, but from what I understand here over in recent years, they've really been able to make a whole nother community out of that that space around the arena where the Bucks play. And again, all of that excitement has been around Giannis in the championship years, of course, that Doc Rivers brought to to Milwaukee. So the economic development was where I'm going with regards to the commitment to build that make it a whole, community of hospitality and entertainment around the arena. You got to think twice, because you're leaving, you talk about moving a guy that you built this whole community, this entertainment and this productive hospitality area around, that doesn't make sense. And I'm sure that for the most part, and I'm saying this is what I believe. I'm sure that Giannis has a lion's share to do with, of course, making some of the monies in that deal that, of course, is around that community around their Coliseum.
I do agree with that. And also, if you're Giannis, he's not the type that wants to jump from team to team.
Yeah.
And more importantly, no matter what, he works for the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks have his rights to play basketball. If I'm Milwaukee, am I fire selling right now to win another 5 or 6 years, when if I can make a few changes, the East is up for grabs, and Giannis is still the best player in the Eastern Conference, not even close. And if you're Giannis, why the heck would you want to go anywhere outside of staying in the East? Because the Western Conference is so loaded right now, with the Spurs getting better. Now Kevin Durant over the Rockets. Who knows what the Warriors are going to be? What about the Lakers? You've got Oklahoma City Thunder just won a championship. The Timberwolves, the Nuggets with Jokic. I would want to stay away from that and stay in that wide open Eastern Conference.
All right, let's go ahead and take a break. You are watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2, SportsVisions 92.1. This is the SportsVisions Morning Show.
If it's local, it's on the SportsVisions Morning Show with former Georgia Bulldog DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Good morning. I'm Rex Castillo. Here's a look at your morning headlines. Nearly 6 years after 19-year-old Anaya Blanchard was murdered, the man accused in her death appeared in court. A judge says it's time to move the case forward for Ibrahim Yazid, despite the defense request to delay the trial until 2026. Prosecutors say they'll be ready when a date is set. Two men, Kelvin Traylor and Reginald Kimbrough, have been indicted on federal charges after a joint investigation into fentanyl trafficking in Columbus. Investigators say Kimbrough led the operation and also faces gun charges as a convicted felon. Columbus police are actively searching for 20-year-old Thomas Reeves, who's wanted for both misdemeanor and felony shoplifting, as well as escape. He was last seen Monday around 4 p.m. near Talbotton Road. Anyone with information is urged to contact 911 or the Columbus Police Department. From WRBL News 3, I'm Rex Castillo. Have a great rest of your day.
Good Wednesday morning. We're off to a very warm start with readings in the mid to upper 70s under a few clouds. And today we do have that heat advisory in effect until this evening for heat index values over the century mark. And those highs, the air temperature reaching the upper 90s again today. This afternoon and evening, rain is back in the forecast. Some of those storms becoming strong to severe. Tonight, mostly cloudy and warm, lows in the mid-70s. More seasonal with afternoon chances of rain in the extended forecast.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking now. Without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Early bird special only $49.99 guaranteed. Hypnosis designed to work without anxiety, irritability, or weight gain. Early bird special only $49.99. Become a non-smoker. That's right. Seminar Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at Northlake in Columbus. Stop smoking seminars at 8 p.m. Weight loss seminars at 5:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Man, I loved playing high school sports growing up. And it's fun being a fan now, don't get me wrong, but sitting in the stands feels like I'm missing out on all the action, you know? I wanted to get back in the game. So I signed up to be a high school official. It takes me back to my playing days. I'm supporting students, and I get paid to make the big calls. Do you want to see the game up close? Sign up to become an official in Alabama at highschoolofficials.com.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
My car.
but what you really need to say is something that can actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And just like that, State Farm is there to help you file your claim right on the State Farm mobile app. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
The only live and local sports morning show. It's the SportsVisions Morning Show with Chattahoochee Valley Sports Hall of Famer DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer on SportsVisions 92.1.
Always there when you call. Always on time.
Welcome back to the SportsVisions Morning Show. It's Hump Day. Good Wednesday morning, everybody. I hope that you're up and at 'em and going head on into everything that you want to do today, and you're going to do it with a little pep in your step, a little action, Jackson. A little corny. Yeah, but you know what? I love these breaks, man, because the three of us, when we are together, or sometimes most of the time you and I are together, but just the conversations that we have off the air, and again, it's just it's amazing. I always said that somehow, some way, we got to capture those conversations, less all the cussing, but because there's some good stories to be learned and some good to be taught from some of the, and again, we're talking amongst each other, and it's motivational, and it's factual, and it's life, and the good thing about it is, we're talking real time and real situations, and I tell you, man, again, it's just a pleasure to be able to have a platform, as I always say, and again, we can bounce out different thoughts off of what we think and what you think, and that's the great thing about it. Let's go ahead and go to again our message board this morning and give some shout outs to the folks that have taken the time out to do so.
Yeah, and Candy saying great morning. Santa Crow says good morning and welcome to Hump Day. So glad you made it, regardless of your it. You got this. Keep educating, enlightening, and elevating. We got Sandra Vett Shelton saying good morning. Rick Rogers says, good morning, SportsVisions team. The Clingstones are officially in first place of the second half of the season. Great game last night with Ian Mejia dominating, and the team that had the best offense in the first half, against the team had the best offense in the first half. So how about that, Richard? Yeah. He's calling you out for that because you said they weren't going to win last night. And then Javar Rakestraw said, Atlanta sports, they going to do what they do. And there's no doubt about that.
All right. Hey, listen, the PGA Tour will be in Detroit this week. And, of course, that's the Rocket Classic. If we got anybody out there listening in the Detroit area, man, we got a couple of passes, man, for Sunday. Again, I know that, we have our collaboration with our contributor, our PGA contributor, Cedric Lamar, who is on the scene. He's a professional caddy on the PGA Tour, and he's kind enough to, of course, donate tickets for those that want to be there. And maybe, who knows, you have a friend of a friend who might know some kids in the Detroit area. And just call us up, get in touch with us, let us know that you want these passes. And what a great experience. We're going to be bringing Cedric Lamar to the Columbus area in August. And we're going to have as a part of the SportsVisions Speakers Tour, we're going to be talking to these kids in the community about opportunities and careers in professional golf, not just as the golfer. I mean, obviously, Cedric is a professional caddy, but he talked about an array of things. We had him on a couple of weeks ago, and he was just talking about the different, he said 15, 16 opportunities in the golf business that you can pursue as a career. And again, that was great information. I didn't even know that. I just, other than the caddy and the golfer, you knew that the people on the grounds crew and the facilities and some of the promoters, but some of the things that he was just explaining to us, Thrift, was quite impressive.
Yeah, it was, man. And I enjoy talking to him as always, man, and breaking it down the way he does.
I wanted to ask Rich. Rich, we never talk golf, but have you ever tried to golf?
Absolutely.
Are you any good? Come on, Thrift.
I've been golfing, casually for more than 20 years now. I do have a set of golf clubs. Still have the same set that I bought in 2005. I took up golf because I knew some way down the road that it's going to pay off, because I might have to, go on a golf outing, which, my brother-in-law golfs, and he's actually a pretty good golfer. So the night before my wedding, my brother-in-law, my wife's cousin, and my nephew, we all went golfing. And so I didn't completely embarrass myself. I actually hit it off the tee pretty well. And, sometimes it goes into the woods, but I actually periodically will golf every now and then, but I'm not good enough to be in tournaments. I don't even keep score, because my score would be so terrible.
I understand.
It would probably be in the triple digits.
Yeah.
But,
probably, and the thing about golfing is you got to do it a lot to get good.
A lot.
But, just going and hit occasional bucket of balls, as I've been doing here recently, getting myself back together. And then they've added this new element to the golf game, which, again, in different cities, we don't have one here. But what's the golfing place that they call? What's that deal that they?
Top Golf.
Top Golf. Top Golf is a newfound gym, and I don't know what the stocks are on it, but obviously for it to be in and around a lot of the major metropolitan areas, man, golfers, they have that itch, man. They got to hit it. And again, this is a simulated area that or at least an isolated area where you can go and hit shots, play games, but the most importantly, just swinging the club. And that's what it's all about. And you could, from your short game to off the tee, your driver, staying sharp. And that's the most important thing. But, I have never been the best that I could be, because I can't afford or the time or the efforts in going out and golfing, for 3, 4, 5 days a week. That's crazy in my mind, in my world. And to those who can, God bless you.
Commend you.
And again, one of these days I'll be retired and I'll have 3, 4, 5 days a week to go out and play 18 holes. But right now, that's not in my that's not on my agenda.
Yeah, I completely understand, DJ. As I've never played a round of golf before. Now I've been with someone that they played and been on the golf course, but I've never played an entire round of golf in my life. So I'm going to have to change that. The problem is, again, I'm the type, DJ, if I'm going to go out and do something, I want to do it right. I want to practice. I want to get good at it. And I don't have the time to be consistent at golf to do that 3 or 4 times a week, at least once a week. Because that's what you got to do. It's like having a baseball swing. You got to having a basketball jump shot. You got to tune it up every now and then. And if you don't, you could lose that thing.
I don't know why, for the life of me, though, that I think, what you said is absolutely true. If you don't golf, if you don't shoot, if you don't do a lot of things, if you don't throw a football, as I was once a quarterback, you give me a ball now, I don't know I don't know where that ball go. Talking about throwing a baseball, I have no idea. I know I've done it and I've been good at it. But I have no idea what the velocity would be like, what where I would throw the ball. But as far as golfing is concerned, man, that is one of the hardest things that I've ever been able to do. And it should be the easiest, because the little ball is sitting there in a spot and it doesn't move. And again, whether you're talking about baseball, getting it going up to the plate, hitting a ball, whether it's going 70 miles an hour, whether it's going 90 miles an hour, it's coming in, and it's easier for me to hit a baseball than it is to hit a golf ball. I tell you. But getting back to what you were saying, Thrift, about you don't like to be in situations where you don't have an opportunity to practice. For the life of me, out of all the things I've done in my mind, and I have not yet to do it. And again, I keep talking about it every year when spring training comes around. We talk about going and going into the cage or going into the batting cage and hit and swinging. But for the life of me, I think that I still can hit, no matter if I haven't hit any, seen any pitching in years. But out of all the things, now shooting the 3 and dribbling and going to the hoop, that's something that probably you deal with. You think that being off the significant amount of time that you've been off, not playing basketball, you think you can, if I throw your ball and give you the keys to the gym, you can go in a matter of a couple of minutes or so, your 3 will be there?
Yeah, I told you when I was up in Dollywood, the first time I went around doing a 3-point contest to win a prize, I hit a few shots and it frustrated me. So then I spent another $7 and did it again. And when I came back around after having that warm-up round, I won the big prize that I was trying to get. So I think if you give me 30, 45 minutes to warm up, get right, my jump shot will start falling. Because once a shooter, always a shooter, DJ. And I think it's just one of those where you just got to tune up every now and then. You just got to give it a little charge. And I think if you gave me the keys, I could go out there and do that.
I still think that there's a place for us to go out and play 9 holes. You say you hadn't played, and I want to see if I want to see you out there. But you say you're left-handed, you need left-handed clubs.
Yeah, so I am left-handed.
So if you haven't played golf and you can't get left-handed clubs, does it make a difference if you hit right-sided? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if that matters in the world of golf. I know I would never try that in baseball. I'm left-handed in baseball too, but I don't know if it's the same thing in golf. Is it easier to try to transition to hit on the right side, especially if you've never played?
Yeah, you transition if you never played. What's the transition?
Well, just because I swing everything with my left, so it just would feel awkward. No matter if it's a golf ball or a baseball, swing on my right. So I don't know how it would even look, to be honest. I've never done a swing with my right side.
Well, damn it, we're going to take all the questions out of it. We're going to go out and I'm going to grab your butt hind. If we play 3 holes, we got to go out and get it done. We've been talking about this for far too long. What hand do you write with?
I write with my right hand, but I bat with my left hand. I'm a weirdo, DJ. I promise you. I am definitely a weirdo.
No, it's not weirdo. It's just different. You're just different.
I am.
All right, let's go ahead and take our short break. When we come back, WTVM Sports Director Tony Reese will be with us, of course. You're watching Facebook Live and you're listening to WLTC HD2 Sports Visions 921. This is the Sports Visions Morning Show.
Yeah. Stay tuned. More local and national sports coverage next on the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1.
I remember brushing my hair and looking down and thinking, oh my gosh, do I have any hair left? I used to look at women with thick, beautiful hair and think, why doesn't my hair look like that?
My thinning hair is making me feel so old.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. With clinically proven ingredients like apple extract, biotin, and millet, Hair Volume nourishes your hair follicles to promote thicker, healthier looking hair. Say goodbye to shedding, thin, and dull hair, and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume.
Since taking Hair Volume, the shedding has all but stopped. Now, instead of being jealous of other women's hair, I have friends who are jealous of mine.
My hairdresser couldn't believe the difference in my hair. Now she's using Hair Volume too.
Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com, or find Hair Volume in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Lori's Furniture Express, your express way to save.
If you're looking for furniture, you need to shop Goree's Furniture Express. It's the largest furniture store around with over 106,000 square feet of in-stock merchandise, with new shipments arriving weekly. Locally owned and operated, with everything you need from rugs to recliners to sofas and more. And that's only at Goree's Furniture, Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd, 12 to 3 on Sports Visions 92.1. Now back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Here's Carver Tigers legend DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. It's Hump Day. WIGF. Thank God it's Wednesday. TW. Something like that. Anyway, hey man, tell you what, we are so thrilled that we have with us today Tony Reese from WTVM. He's the sports director and, again, the man about town. Now, Tony, welcome to the Sports Visions Morning Show. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, brother. Always a pleasure to be here with y'all in the mornings.
Good deal. Hey, man, look, a few weeks from now, man, obviously, all hell's going to break loose. And, again, high school football will be in action, of course, college football and pro football, but more importantly and closer to home, WTVM sports department, and of course, going after all of these high school games, and again, all the things that you and Drew have to do, man. Are you planning it all out? Have you already got it figured out?
No doubt about it, DJ. We already started building our schedules. We got some projects in the works, man. A lot of good things in store. And then, of course, after SEC Media Week, that's really nitty gritty. That's when we get down to it. Then next thing you know, it's Auburn, Georgia, Bama all over again, and y'all know how it goes.
Absolutely. And I know that you have already have everything booked and locked in as far as the SEC Media Days that's coming up in mid-July. You got the penthouse suite there at the Media Hotel, and
I don't know about all that.
all the doggone the coaches already lined up to show you favor, and I'll get a good deal. Hey, man, listen, what does Radio Row, or at least not the Radio Row, because it's not even Radio Row anymore.
Yeah,
they call it.
They changed it. Yeah.
It's something new. I was just looking at it the other day. But as SEC Media Days approaches, what does that mean to you? Do you feel like that's the official? And everybody, I know everybody says it, and it's kind of cool. But to you, to every individual, I know it means something different. What does it mean to you?
This will personally be my third one since I've been back. I think it means, seasons in store. Last year we had guys like Michael Williams, and being able to see his, overall adventure from that moment all throughout the season, going to his draft party. I like to see these full circle moments. It kind of gets me excited, man. We talk about college football. It's basically religion around here, so it's always an exciting time to really figure out what each coach is going to say about the guys, which guys they bring. It's a big party almost for all of us to get back together, all the people in the sports institute to get all together and chat about different angles this season, what we can talk about, guys to look out for. We have a couple local guys, curious to see what they can do. It's going to be an exciting time. And, it's always a big, after all the work's said and done, it's also MLB All-Star Weekend. So we get to go up there and hopefully catch the All-Star game. Atlanta's just an exciting place to be this year.
I know that we had an opportunity to talk to your sidekick, Drew Pavon, and, of course, we talked a little bit about NIL, and we talked a little bit about the transfer portal, but I don't remember in recent times having an opportunity to talk to you and how those two elements have affected the college football game. Just want to, in your words, just elaborate a little bit on, the portal as well as NIL and how you think has affected college football and individual players today.
I think in different ways, it definitely has helped the game, and in some ways it may have hurt the game just based on what we've seen. Some of these different trades, you go to the Nico Immobile and his brother Madden now being at UCLA, how they did that. Maybe it wasn't the best way in some people's eyes, but you also see some teams that are able to upgrade overnight. You talk about guys like Auburn being able to recruit a heavy class and everything in between. And my bad, my dog's trying to get in here. You talk about just we talk about the recruiting classes. You talk about the Bamas being able to bring in a lot of their guys and even upgrade overnight. And of course, Georgia. Georgia's gonna be Georgia regardless. You know all about that, DJ. So everything is able to capitalize. Some of these teams are hurting. I know going to a school like Troy myself, they've been able to bring in some guys. They get the top prospects nowadays. Different NIL initiatives are being launched all across the nation. I think, everybody talks about name, image, and likeness with certain kids, man. For years, it's been a thing of coaches and franchises have been able to capitalize off these kids. Now some kids are able to change their lives overnight. I think it's a positive thing. I think it's still kind of the wild, wild west, though. I think it has to be regulated in some regards, but it's an exciting time to really witness all this. I feel like I came out way too late. I should have been, this would be the perfect time to come out now if I was a college athlete.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, Tony, and looking forward to being there at SEC Media Days. This will be my third one too, as well. So thankful for DJ allowing me to be there. Big storyline though with the Auburn Tigers is that they got the talent. The question is Hugh Freeze the right coach? How you're feeling on the Auburn Tigers is because the mindset's been the last couple of years, the excuse, well, we don't have the talent. I don't have the guys to run my offense. I don't have the guys to be successful on defense. You can't say that this year. You need to win 8 or 9 games. So how's your feeling on Auburn?
I agree. Hugh had his health scares and everything, so I know people are going to give him a little bit of grace this year, but it definitely is SEC country, so it's time to put up or shut up. You have Bama and Georgia being able to get as many wins as they have. Kellen the boy, his first year coming in and getting a solid number of wins. With the team you have on paper, Auburn should be a powerhouse. Auburn should be able to get there. You bring in Jackson Arnold. You got Deuce Knight in the wing. Of course, Cam Coleman being a local standout. He's doing his thing. You bring in Eric Singleton. You talk about that defensive front. There's a lot of guys there that will return. Offensive line is just as good. A lot of local talent is across the board as well. They have all the pieces needed. And then you talk about the new renovations to the stadium. So it's an exciting atmosphere to be in. There's no reason why the win shouldn't correlate with all that being said. But we're going to see after these first couple games. I'm going to give them – I would estimate at least 8 or 9. I ain't saying they're going to win the SEC this year, but if they can beat Alabama or Georgia, then they're doing something right. But I ain't saying that either. It's going to be one of those toss-ups, but an exciting time to say the least.
Tony, with SEC Media Days coming up, the quarterback play is really going to be at an all-time high. You talk about DJ Lagway at Florida, Arch Manning at Texas, but Gunnar Stockton is really not getting a lot of love. A lot of SEC rankings, they're ranking the quarterbacks, and he's not even in the top 10. Do you think that Gunnar Stockton at Georgia is being undervalued? And what does Georgia look like for this upcoming season with that tough schedule?
Richard, I agree there. I think after watching Gunnar last season, especially going into that bowl game, it was definitely a lot of first year jitters, let's say that. But everybody you've ever talked to regarding him and his position there at Georgia has always said he's composed. Georgia's had great quarterbacks the last couple of years we've been all able to witness. And Gunnar is definitely that quarterback of the future. I know people are high on him. I believe I've seen enough of him myself that he has a good ceiling, I want to say, to really hit still. I think you talk about the DJ Lagways, of course, those are the sexier names in the SEC. You have the Garrett Nussmeier and all those guys that are just trying to do things. And then Lenore Sellers. You talk about all that. Arch Manning, everybody's already anticipating Texas running the floor with everybody. They're supposed to be SEC champions, maybe national champions. I think a lot of times you get glitz and glam all confused, but at the end of the day, everybody has to line up between those lines and make it do what it do. So I think it's going to be an interesting time. And I think Georgia's in a well position. They recruit well. They bring in a lot of the guys. Kirby's always ran a tight ship over there. I think it's going to be an exciting time regardless. I don't think they're falling off the map anytime soon. I think they still make a deep run.
Tony Reese is our guest this morning on the SportsVisions morning show. Tony, a lot of talk have been talking. We're bringing it a little closer to home. A lot of talk has been about, the Georgia High School Association and them tightening up the belt as far as these transfer. We talk about the transfer portal, but as far as these transfers in city, in state, and more importantly, in Georgia. And I know that we have seen, even on in our realm, as far as how we cover high school football, we know that players have gone to different schools that they live even out of their areas. But how do you? What's your take on that? And again, have you had an opportunity to really, really get a good feel for what this new rule of them tightening the belt with regards to showing valid proof and again showing a total accountability with driver's license and bills and as far as utility bills and even leases the parents have to prove that these moves are legitimate?
I think it's an interesting take, DJ. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. There's been several movement around our area alone, different athletes going to different schools. I understand, maybe getting a better opportunity at one school that you weren't getting at your current school. I think now, though, you talk about top guys that are moving around the board, and I think, in some ways, some of that does need to be regulated because you talk about one team that being that catalyst for that team, and then they leave, now that team has to rebuild. Not saying that's not a bad thing. It'll be a next man up mentality. But it's very questionable at times. You see these guys, and you like, man, I know last season I just covered you here. Now you're here. I don't know how they made that work. I get, city limits and things like that, but in some regards, south side going to the north side, it's a little questionable. But you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I want every kid to make it out of here and get the best out of their fulfillment and whatever they want to do. But I think GHSA, this is a push. Once again, that's also a wild, wild west right now because you want to really crack down that whip. But at the same time, there's still some leniency there. It's not 100%. It seems fluid as to what that means exactly. Some coaches and parents are still probably confused about the dynamic of how that all works. And then you talk about just looking across the board. I know AHSAA, they now have a task force in place, so they're trying to do some of the same things. It's warranted, but I think there's still some leeway or there's still some questions to be answered there. I think in the coming time, we'll really see after this season how it really kind of plays out, and then going forward, how teams may need to move and adhere to these new rules after this.
Smith Station hired a new coach in Blair Harrison. I was over on Smith Station's campus on Monday doing my sitting with an athletic director here, the program's interview with Brian Eason. As an alumni, Tony, I'm going to tell you my opinion. I want to hear yours. I think they got the right leadership from Principal Adam Johnson to Brian Eason, the athletic director, now the football coach, Blair Harrison, where in the next coming years, they're going to be that sleeping giant and team, kind of like what Harris County's been the last couple of years, but for Alabama. How's your thought process on the leadership at Smith Station and where it's heading in the future?
Thrift, I hope that's the case, man. I love it. You know, being an alum, we talk about the success that the Smith Station has been known to have in the past. Definitely like Blair Harris. You know, we talked about, I was able to catch up with him a couple weeks back, a couple months ago, just when he first got the job, about all his expectations. Everybody knows 7A is a gauntlet. Let's not face it. Central and Auburn kind of run the show right now. You got Opelika on the back burner. They're kind of looking to really jump forward this season. A lot of great programs in there. You know, a lot of rebuild going on in Smith Station. It always has been in recent years. A lot of renovations on the way. So, you know, maybe that'll be a little bit more enticing, a little bit more sexy. Hopefully players are able to really get behind the message and, you know, really lock in. But you talk about it, it's cutthroat. We talk about what the expectations are year one. It's like an Auburn situation. You hope a lot of wins come, but at the same time, realistically, you just want to get through the season and make sure that you can see what you have here and then building off of it, how you can grow from this season and hopefully get back into those winning columns, get back that success. And I think, you know, it's not going to change overnight. Rome wasn't building a day, so I think it's going to be some questions there, but I think they're in a good. I think they're in a good spot.
Tony, we are less than 50 days away from the start of high school football. I know your team, the Sports Overtime with you, Drew, McKenzie, Steven, Rico. I mean, it's just a huge team that's getting ready to just kick this thing off. What are you looking forward to, and what's the preparation going into that first Sports Overtime that christens the upcoming season for high school football?
Richard, you know more than anybody, man, the grind, man. I just love, you know, getting back into it, going out to these teams. We already got our state line showdown, Callaway versus Opelika going down. Late mid-August, that's going to be the fun, exciting time. We talk about those two powerhouses of the program, Pete Wiggins and then now Brian Moore. We know those two coaches at their prime. That week of preparation, man, we're already kind of plotting out. I think we're planning on hitting up Corky Kell this year, so we got a lot of already trying to get that thing's frontal lobe going, trying to figure out where we want to go here, what the cover, what the biggest storylines are. A lot of guys have already started committing across the board. How is that going to play into the season? You know, that's the biggest thing. DJ, you can probably relate to that. Going ahead and declaring early so that you just play in the game and not have to worry about all the excess factor of where I want to go by end of the season. I don't have this offer yet. I need to do this. So I'm really curious to see how these guys play out. You know, we talk about teams that you know are going to be there. Jarvis Jones now over at Carver. We know that's another elite program. They're going to be back where they need to be. Central, of course, is Central. Nobody's expecting them to fall off the map. Auburn, we talk about just the success they've had over there. It's going to be an exciting time. And like I said, Opelika, all our teams really. Pacelli's, you know, everything in between. Everybody has a lot of new coaches. We talk about coaches. There's a lot of new coaches across our area. So I'm really curious to see and excited to see where they take these programs this season.
Absolutely. And again, you made mention of the coaches, but we have a big grand move that was just made just the other day. Of course, we have a new citywide athletic director from Muskogee County Schools. And of course, Kendall Mills is a very popular and a very beloved guy here in this community. What do you think about that move?
Oh, that's exciting, man. It's funny you say that. I actually got out early on Monday, and me and the wife went over to Tommy G's. If y'all haven't been out here in Midland, man, it's a great establishment, I got to say. And I actually ran into Coach Mills and his wife and them. I didn't realize that they probably were celebrating. I knew they were celebrating. I didn't know what they were celebrating. So it was actually the same night that he got the position. So I think that's exciting, man. Everybody that knows Coach Mills, he runs a pretty well-operated system over at Hardaway, and I know he's going to do great wonders for Muskogee County as he's already done so far.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. Love Kendall. Love what he's going to do for Muskogee County School District. Should be awesome. Tone, let's talk about the Hawks. They just traded for Kristaps Porzingis. I don't know if I believe in this trade. What do you think for the guy that's played barely half his games each season of the last 3?
It's funny, man. I was just talking to some of the guys last night. We talk about these big names now that are like back in the day, it would have been something really worthwhile. Like Kristaps Porzingis, but it's like, it's like Kevin Durant. Like, is the relevance still there? I think so. I think this is just the first of many trades. You know, they bring in a new GM. They say they're not trading out Trae Young. So now you put Trae Young with Porzingis. You know, they had a little beef back in New York and now also with Boston trying to figure out how they can do that. I think they'll mesh really well. I think this isn't the last we're probably hearing, especially with the draft being today. You know, they still have one draft pick. They had the 22nd pick, but now they've traded that out to bring in Porzingis. So I think it's going to be interesting nonetheless to say that the Hawks are actually going to be must-watch TV this year. I plan to actually hit a couple games. I know I've been to a couple Dream games, which if y'all have never been to an Atlanta Dream game, man, y'all got to really tap in because them games are just as exciting. The halftime concerts are just as crazy. Like, hey, they do it big up there. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Tony, we got the NBA draft tonight, and it's obvious that the Dallas Mavericks are going to take Cooper Flagg with that overall pick. Is there another player like maybe a Dylan Harper or VJ Edgecombe or maybe an Ozanul that played at Georgia that could be a sleeper pick that could end up becoming a potential all-star?
I think whatever team gets Ozanul for sure is getting a sleeper because the fact that he's not as high on the board as he should be, he's up there, but he's not as high as I think he could be. That guy's explosive talent. Man, I want to talk about, guys like Janai and guys like Dylan Caldwell and them, which I've seen they have a lot of offers, a lot of different workouts they're doing. I'm curious to see where they fall, if they even go in the first round, maybe tomorrow in the second. But I think we talk about just the adversity and the tenacity these guys bring to the game. Those are sleeper picks, I feel like, because they're not really getting as much traction. Janai Broome basically was up there with Cooper Flagg all season, and he's nowhere mentioned in the first round. That I find kind of questionable. People want to talk about age and everything in between, but we've seen what the guy can do with the ball in his hand. I think he's just going to be just as versatile and kind of a sleeper for any team that picks him, in my personal opinion.
Tony, my last question for you, and again, I'll let you have the rest of the morning to yourself and to get going. But, again, I've been hearing grumblings and little whispers in the community. It's like, oh, my goodness, you guys are streaming games. Oh, my God, you got a morning show. Oh, my God, the local guys as far as the TV and that. You know what? I said, listen, the more the merrier. The beneficiaries of all of this information, whether it's on the TV news, whether it's on this radio show, whether it's the streaming services and the shows that come across here locally, I think that's a plus for the community because, again, everybody gets their sports different ways. And again, some of them listen to everything. Some of them look at everything. What's your opinion on what's going on here right now currently? Because we have more coverage for high school athletics than we've had that I can remember.
No doubt about it, DJ. We talk about the digital platform format, man. Now, more than anything, I can't tell you, myself included, I'm going to X first and foremost anytime anything breaks, or ESPN, all the apps. So why can't we also capitalize on that as well as far as getting in that business? SportsVisions, y'all do a great job. Georgia Alabama Sports Now, y'all have a powerhouse going over there, man. As much as y'all cover it, we try to keep up with y'all sometimes. Y'all are everywhere, anywhere, everywhere. I love it, man. Y'all keep doing y'all thing. It's exciting to see. We ourselves are planning to expand a lot more into our, digital platform. We have the OTT desk and everything, and we've already started doing initiatives. Got a lot of stuff in store, so I can't really put too much out there just yet. But just know this season, hey, we try to play catch up with y'all. Just know that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that because, again, some different camps, different people, different personalities. Everybody's not as in your face as I am. I come out and say, if I don't like something or if I got an issue or problem, I'm going to let you know. But everybody's not like that. But at the same time, hey, that's okay. It's all right. Just be who you are, but just be true to who you are. That's all I have to say.
No doubt.
Hey, man, listen, we appreciate you coming on board with us here this morning, man, and talking to the SportsVisions Nation. You go ahead and have a great rest of your day, my friend.
Y'all as well. Thank y'all for having me.
All right.
See you, Tony.
Tony Reese, the sports director at WTVM, man. I tell you like how I slid that question in there, Thrift. And again, you know what? People are probably thinking that and saying that kind of stuff. But I think I asked a question for a lot of people that really wanted to know.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we appreciate Big Tone for coming on at WTVM as always.
Absolutely. Rich, what you think? Again, I know that there's a lot going on with regards to the coverage, and we had a conversation about it. But just want to get your thoughts and ideas about, what's going on. I mean, is it, it's not a competition in my mind.
No.
But the bottom line, like I said, is for the parents, it's for the kids, it's for the community. And I think that the more resources that they have, whether it's Georgia Alabama Sports Live, whether it's the SportsVisions Morning Show, or whether it's TVM or RBL and anybody else out there for that matter, the more the merrier.
Yeah, we are all passionate about sports. We are all on the same team. I appreciate Tony Reese, Drew Provon, Mackenzie Collins, all of them at WTVM, Rico, Steven. Every time I see them at sporting events, I say hi to them. Same with WRBL with Jack Patterson and Tyler Redmond. I mean, we're all here because we love sports. We love covering it, but it's about the kids too. It's about giving them the coverage that they deserve. Because I know that 10, 20 years ago, it would have been great if there was a platform out there where you can live stream games, but that didn't exist 20 years ago. And so we got to just strike while the iron's hot, take advantage of the technology. We got to embrace technology And we just got to come together as one team because it's really all about the kids. It's all about the coverage that has been deserved in this area for years.
Thrift, Georgia Alabama Sports Live is the new kid on the block and doing big things, but you better believe it. In the next year or two, maybe even a few months, something else is going to come up, and you got to know. And you just do what you do, and that's all you can do. You can't worry about what everybody else is doing.
No, I'm gonna do what we've been doing. We got ourselves a great relationship with people in the community partners, and I don't do the competition part. I don't do and worry about what something else is going on. At the beginning, I did, but now I don't. In my opinion, no one's going to do what we're doing here at SportsVisions. No one's going to be able to do the plethora of games we do at Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Yeah, maybe someone out there want to stream a game here and there. We're doing 60 games a month. Like that, I don't feel like I need to talk about competition. I just focus on what I can focus on. I work with everyone out there in the community, all the media outlets. I'm fans of Tony and Jack and RBL and TVM, and I just focus on what we can focus on, DJ. And I've learned that from you. You know, I used to at the beginning, I was worried about what about this? What about that? Oh, what if I'm good at what I do?
Yes.
That's all I can control.
Yes.
Who cares what else somebody else is doing?
Absolutely. What's for you is for you. Just be the best at whatever you do. And again, I say that I sing that till the cows come home. All right, let's go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, we'll have an opportunity to talk to, of course, Jack Johnson, the voice of the Columbus Clingstones. You're watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2 SportsVisions 921. This is the SportsVisions Morning Show.
Can we just talk? Can we just talk about where we're going?
Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for making us your home for local, regional, national sports talk in the Chattahoochee Valley. This is SportsVisions 92.1.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys. And I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia. I got a tour of their headquarters. I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
The Columbus Clingstones kick off the second half with a 6-game homestand, June 24th through 29th, featuring exciting giveaways and theme nights. Highlights include Wet Nose Wednesday, presented by the law offices of Gary Bruce, Rowdy Towel Thirsty Thursday giveaway, courtesy of Rowdy Beach IPA, and it's Welcome to Summer Weekend, presented by Aflac, with Margaritaville-themed post-game fireworks on Friday and Clingstones beach towels to the first 1,000 fans on Saturday. The week wraps up with post-game Kids Run the Bases on Sunday, thanks to Witt's Frozen Custard. Grab your tickets at clingstones.com.
Employee pricing for all is still going strong at Rivertown Ford in Columbus. Through July 7th, we're extending your opportunity to pay what we pay across the entire lineup of in-stock Ford trucks and SUVs. Tap into the powerful capabilities of any 2024 Ford F-150 with financing as low as 3.9 APR for 72 months, plus up to $2,750 in retail bonus cash and $1,000 trade assistance on top of already low employee pricing. Or take the whole family on epic adventures with employee pricing on all 2024 Ford Expeditions. Unlock even more unbelievable savings with up to $4,000 customer cash plus 2 years or 24,000 miles prepaid maintenance as you travel in style and comfort. From America, for America. Get outstanding Ford performance at employee prices with Rivertown Ford in our showroom or online at rivertownford.com. Offer ends July 7th, 2025. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete details.
Attorney Advertising, Georgia. Attorney 770, Good Law Car Accident Lawyers. Paid after dramatization. Top dog does not mean we are the best. No guarantees of success.
You want to blame everybody but yourself. It's actually all your fault. And you know it is. As you lay in that hospital bed right now and cry, You understand what type of pain you're going through. See, you in critical condition. You hoping you make it. But the person you hit, they in critical condition too. You hoping they make it. And you was intoxicated. You was drunk. You going to jail. You better hope they make it. Y'all in the same hospital. Y'all in the same room. He right next to you. Y'all both in the same room. You hear him on the phone. He calling top dog. Telling the dog to go bite. Calling top dog. He telling them the story. How a drunk person hit him. How he hurt real bad. How he right next to him. Any accident, big or small, you call the dog. Top dog law.
WLTC HD2 Casita and W221 DP Columbus. You're listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1. Your home for the Dan Patrick Show, 9 to 12 on Sports Visions 92.1. Now back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Here's former Green Bay Packer DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones Thrift Barringer, and shout out to Richard Holdridge. He's gone on to another assignment. A big flag football tournament going on today here in Muskogee County over at Otis Spencer Stadium. And you know what? If we're lucky, we might get a hit from, of course, over at Otis Spencer from Richard.
Yep, and it's 7-on-7, first game 9:30, and it's got 6 of the local teams come out, watch some good high school football, and it's a tournament too, so we will have a champion.
You think I need to remind those coaches out there that didn't hear us earlier when I opened up the show, or you think I need to leave it alone?
I think they understand. Give me some damn rosters for tonight.
Absolutely. All right, 706-324-1420 is the number to call if you want to chime in. Hey, I tell you what, got great news from down at Synovus Park. Again, opening up yesterday with the victory, and I tell you what, Ian Mejia was outstanding. Of course, Ethan Workinger was doing his thing, and of course, who's better to talk to this morning than the voice of the Columbus Clingstones? Please welcome this morning. How are you, my friend, Jack Johnson?
Good morning, DJ. Good morning, Thrift. How we doing?
Excellent as always.
Hey, man, listen, you guys picked a great time to get back to winning. Obviously, I didn't believe it, but you said they lost 10 in a row or 10 games, but Sunday you kind of flipped the switch and got that victory, and of course came home and spoiled the hometown crowd down at Synovus last night with that great shutout win.
Yeah, it's true. If you can believe it, or if you can't believe it, that it was a 10-game losing skid, and that's part of long baseball season. Is you're gonna have moments where you're on top of the world, and moments where you never feel like you're gonna be able to find your game again, and you just hope to try to limit those moments to not being as extensive of a losing streak as that was. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head, turned it around on Sunday with a victory. And I think what else is very nice about the minor league season is, they're split into halves. So what happened in the first half of the season really doesn't matter anymore. Records reset yesterday, and as far as we're concerned, the Clingstones are 1-0 now.
Absolutely. But the fact of the matter is that, we talked quite some time ago about the household names coming from the Clingstones. And obviously those two guys yesterday who actually were the stars of the show, Mejia as well as Workinger, those guys have jumped out, it's easy to say, but I want you to take the opportunity to talk about a few others that are on the cusp or are really right there. Because again, Thrift and I talk about these two guys. We brag about them and talk about 11 home runs. Working just outstanding. And of course, we know the job that Mejia did last night and has done all season. But who are some of the other names that we should be aware of that are right there on the cutting edge?
Yeah, we've talked about, like you said, we've talked about Work and Mejia really all year. And I was thinking it was really funny at the end of last night's game, because they were, the two top performers, both on the mound and at the plate. And I thought about it, and I said, well, I'm going on the morning show tomorrow, and it seems like every time I go on the morning show, these two have a terrific game the night before, which is a good thing. That normally means we got to keep the same schedule, because we're going to get these guys to the big leagues.
Yes.
Besides that, Geraldo Quintero's had a great year. He's a smaller frame. And he's just 5'5", 155 pounds, and yet he has 8 homers, which is second on the club. And he's hit 8 homers in 50 games, which is incredible, because his previous career high was 8 home runs, and he hit that over about 100. I think it was 113 games in 2022. And so to already be on that pace is astonishing. He's hit 2 grand slams, and he's got like a 14-game on base streak. So he's been very good. Also on the mound, I think Landon Harper, he's been steady all year for the Clingstones. Brett Sears pitched 7 innings of 1-run ball on Sunday. So there's several different guys we could talk about.
Jack, on a personal note, how's it been for you? Now it's 3-4 months in. I feel like we haven't been able to catch up. How's everything going with you? Like, have you been able to kind of get your feet underneath you? Now we're about to be in July. It's already halfway through the season. I mean, it's pretty crazy, man. Have you been able to feel like you've kind of ingratiated yourself in the Columbus community, or is it just one game after another? You really haven't been able to enjoy the scenery and stuff.
I don't think it's a lack of enjoying the scenery. I think there's opportunities for that probably outside the season, to expand on that a little bit more. You definitely get into a flow, get into a rhythm. We had a few games in Chattanooga that got canceled, and it seemed I got a lot of texts from people being like, "Oh, this is great! Like, you guys get days off." And honestly, at this stage of the year, like, it's almost better to just kind of be in a routine, kind of have the 6 days on, 1 day off routine, because you just kind of adapt to it and you get very used to it. And it's always, you're always up for opening week, and you're always up for opening day. And, you kind of catch that second wind right about now. And then once the All-Star break rolls around, I think everybody will be a little restless to go take the All-Star break, and then after that, the season's going to wind down pretty quickly, and that's why I think it's, I know it's hot. I know it's hot. Trust me. I've lived in some warm places before, and today is going to be how hot it's going to be. In terms of, I've lived in Arizona and Lawrenceville, Georgia, Columbus, Georgia yesterday. That was a special kind of heat, but these are the few weeks I think which would be the best to come out to the ballpark if you're a fan. These are the summer nights that I feel like are so personally connected with baseball. And so July 4th and, a lot of good giveaways, and I think this is going to be probably the 3 best weeks we'll have this year at the ballpark.
Jack Johnson is, of course, the voice of the Columbus Clingstone, and he's our guest this morning on the SportsVisions Morning Show. Jack, we've had a great relationship, of course, broadcasting the games here at SportsVisions 92.1. But you and I and Thrift, we've had a great opportunity to kind of keep up with each other, mainly on a weekly basis. We've gone even outside of that. We wanted to do some special features, and we've gone and we've talked to your head of the director of grounds. We talked to your ticket people. I met McKenzie the other day over in the, of course, in the merchandise and in the offices over there. The girl that runs the gift shop there, and Thrift and I was doing a live down there, of course, that we always do. But you got to hook me up with McKenzie. We got to get her on and talk about all the great deals and all the great things that are happening in the retail shop there. And again, I don't know if I'm using the right words, but the first thing you see when you come up into the stadium, you to your right as you go through the gates, and that's where you get all the gear for the Columbus Clingstones. And I want to talk to her a little bit about not only all that great gear, but just again, you know how we do it here on SportsVisions, just like having a cup of coffee and just having a conversation about another great element of the Columbus Clingstones experience.
I think that's one of the best things that you both accomplish with this show is it's not just the front facing people. I mean, my job is very front facing as being on the broadcast, but talking to Brendan Sieber with the grounds crew, talking to Scott Peretti with the ticket sales. Yes, we can absolutely have Mackenzie Hatfield on this show. She does a phenomenal job in the merchandise department at the it's affectionately known as the Orchard the team store. And it's strategically located because you walk in through the gate and outside of the ballpark, the first thing you see is the team store. And they're still restocking that building from opening week. That's how popular that building was when the ballpark first opened. And so, yes, we will absolutely try to set that up. And I certainly appreciate, from my standpoint, your willingness to talk to many different people in many different backgrounds and departments with this ball club. And I know it's not just limited to this club, but it's also about connecting to the rest of the community as well. And it's cool to see.
We hit a little bit of a lull the first half of the season. Obviously, Jack, we don't have to harp on that. But have you talked to Coach Cabela, and what's his mindset with the team heading in the second half to kind of right the ship, get back on the winning ways, and get off to a hot start instead of always trying to play from behind? Have you been able to talk to him about how they're going to attack this second half of the season?
I think it's just trusting the players. One thing that I've come to understand about Cody Gabello, the manager, now that we're about a few months into the season, he treats these guys really like professionals. He lets them, it's not that they set their own schedule, but he will let them kind of dictate it if they need extra work, if they need to take more of a day for themselves, however they get prepared. His one ask is that you show up ready to play, and that's not a hindrance, and that's more of a, it's not to say that minor leagues isn't professional baseball, because it's definitely more of a pro model, but you also have to factor in that a lot of these guys are 22, 23 years old, and a lot of that is good for them. I think in Gabby's mind, I don't think he wants the first time that these guys have free reign over their career and their own preparation and their work at the field, but not on the field in the sense of the game, to be at the major league level.
Right.
I think he wants them to get that understanding and that experience for their own game. And so it's not rousing clubhouse speeches, but it is spending time individually with players saying, these are the things I want you to focus on. But there's also implicit trust that they're going to take care of their own business too. And again, it happens. I don't really have much of an explanation for a 10-game losing streak besides that's baseball, man.
Right.
It's going to happen. It unfortunately happened in the inaugural season, and now we've set a record that let's never break again, right?
Absolutely. Jack, I want to ask you this because, on the Sports Visions morning show, it's not a normal sports show. We talk about a whole lot of other things other than stats and games and players. With regards to your organization, your job, your travel, 2 months in now, you spend a lot of time with these guys. And of course, you guys all stay, you ride the buses together, you travel, you stay in the same hotels. You're around these guys a lot more than you're actually around your family. These guys are not only, and I would say brothers to you, they're associates, they're friends. Some of them become friends. Do you find yourself sometimes, how do you spend your time when you, other than in business? Do you guys have an occasional round of golf? Do you guys play cards on the bus? I mean, what do you guys share with the folks, so that they don't know? It's not all just cut and dry. You guys do it. You are human.
Oh, sure. There's different golf outings, whether we're on the road or, a lot of people try to take advantage of that one off day on Mondays and go golfing. I've been out a few times, and I've been out a few times as well when we're on the road, and I really enjoy golfing because it's a great way to get to know people, especially if you're stuck riding a golf cart together. And so I enjoy that. Different guys. It's funny now that we're at this stage of the year, and for people that have been with us kind of since day one or early in the season, like everybody falls into a similar routine. You walk into the clubhouse, these are the card guys, right?
Yeah.
These are the guys that they'll be in this corner, they'll be in that corner. These are the guys that hit in group one, so they're already getting ready to go. There's guys that like to eat before the games. There's guys way before the games. There's guys that like to eat closer to the games, and so they'll kind of eat together. And depending on my schedule, that allows me to kind of interact on that specific day with whatever the schedule aligns with. And like you said, you've been around these people for so much extensive time over the last few months, being on the bus, being on the road, being at home. Yeah, you definitely develop a relationship. And so that has been an enjoyable part because, like I stated at the very beginning, like I stated the first time I was on this show, my goal is to connect this community to their team. The team that everybody wanted, right, was a Braves affiliated AA team, and it's here. And so I'm just a conduit from this community to that team. And so the more I understand them, the more I understand their background and their stories, I feel like that would be accomplishing my goal for this year at least.
You brought up the Braves. I do want to ask you, with Major League Baseball, the Braves seem to struggle with everyone but the Mets, as they've beaten them 5 times in a row,
Right.
man. And it's like this is mental block the Mets have. It is really mind-boggling with the Atlanta Braves. But as you watch the Bravos, you know, people ask, are they buyers? Are they sellers at the trade deadline? They can't make up their mind. What would your thought process be with this Braves team? Would you try to go ahead and say, let's play for next year? Or do you think you have an opportunity with how the NL is right now, especially in the wild card, to try to make a run for the playoffs?
Might be frozen a little bit there.
Yeah, but I think we just...
Bad connection, huh?
Yeah, if you're listening on the radio, we just got it always happens. It's in the middle of when I ask a tough question. We get either maybe his phone died. That happens sometimes, DJ, and then of course the internet goes down. But he set the scene pretty good, and I like the fact that he talked about they get to interact with each other and have fun, be human. They're not all business all the time, and I think we got him back right there. There you go, Jack. You heard my question, and you ready to rock and roll with the answer?
As I was saying, yeah. It's a roll of the dice with the internet here, as always. And so, anyways, yes, thanks for hanging with me. No, I think that they it's been proven over the last few years. You really just kind of need to get in the dance. Diamondbacks showed that, and I think the Braves are a much more accomplished lineup than the Diamondbacks had, and I think their pitching staff is much more accomplished as well. And we've only seen a healthy Braves lineup and pitching staff for about a total of 3 to 4 games since 2023. Yeah. So, I mean, it's tough to make any snap judgments. And again, at a certain point, if you have a group of players that are always hurt, well, that kind of factors into things in terms of whether you want to commit money to them or have them be a part of the future and trade them. So that's certainly worth thinking about as well. I don't know if they're going to win the World Series with this current structure, but I think they'll certainly be able to compete. They'll be able to compete. And I think if their pitching staff performs, you really only would need to beat. I think that the way that the playoffs would line would only really need to beat the Dodgers 3 times before they would need to beat you 3 times. And I would almost rather want, and this is just hypothetical, but I think it's probably likely they'll play the Dodgers or the champion of their own division first. I would rather beat them 3 out of 5 than 4 out of 7, because that gives a juggernaut like LA more time to get back into a series. So you'd almost kind of want to see them earlier anyways.
Jack, just a couple of things here before I let you go on with the rest of your morning. Obviously, the Oklahoma City Thunder are the NBA champs, and I know that you're a man of many sports. Any thoughts on the new world champion?
Yeah, I saw this tweet from a Thunder fan the other day, and it was a still frame of Damian Lillard hitting his like 40-foot game-winning three-pointer against the Thunder several years ago over Paul George. And the tweet just said, "Thank you, Damian Lillard," because if the Thunder win that series, they're probably still in some form of purgatory, but they lost. And I think there's some interesting parallels between the Thunder then and the Thunder now, and not just the Atlanta Braves, but a lot of the National League, right? Again, none of us are particularly fond of the Los Angeles Dodgers, but a decade ago, when I was, a younger NBA fan, my team was the Warriors, still is the Warriors, but it was more so growing up in that region. And they had the best team, and they signed the big free agents, and even free agents you couldn't possibly fathom joining the Warriors, joined the Warriors. And teams bulked up to try to take them down, and they were never going to, because the Warriors had two generational, one very good player and one generational defensive player. And the Thunder were one of those teams where they brought in Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, and they had Russell Westbrook, and that's a really good team, except you're going up against this super, and it was never going to work. And so they lost to the Blazers, and they blew it up, and they traded every single piece that they had, and then they would acquire more pieces, and then they would trade those guys. And I guess it's made me a little bit more of like a roster construction anarchist, in the sense that I really believe this is an achievable model for a lot of organizations that are kind of stuck. And it's not tanking. It is using your assets to try to just multiply. And so Sam Presti and the Thunder have done a great job. They're a young team. They're going to be tough to stop. And I don't really know exactly who else is constructed in this modern NBA. I'm sure you guys have talked about it with the CBA rules. How do you stop this? You can't sign anyone in free agency. And so it'll be interesting to see kind of how the next 2 years play out.
Great point. Great point. Go ahead and finally set the table for tonight's action out at Synovus Park.
Lucas Braun on the bus. We're on at 7:05, 6:50 pregame. Braun's the number 9 prospect in the Braves organization. I feel like you all hear that every time I jump on the air. That's just the way that the scheduling works out, it seems. It's Biloxi's in town. They're the first half champions, so we're hoping to see them in the Southern League playoffs. And so to get a victory over the first half champion, again, I think that's the real story there. Is yes, Mejia was phenomenal, and work was great as well, but to struggle so much and then go into a series against a team that was red hot the last 2 months, and basically they just took the life out of them. Just no runs, really didn't get much going offensively. It felt like Biloxi kind of sleptwalked through the game, and Columbus didn't let them up either. And so it'll be up, they'll pass the baseball to Lucas Braun. He's turned in some great starts this year. He's mentioned this, and he's owned this as well. Some issues with the long ball and giving up more home runs than he would have liked at this point of the season. But aside from those few mistakes that he's made, that it's just luck of the draw that he's given up home runs on, with good swings from opponents, he's been fantastic. And I think if you look kind of through the numbers and you look at the way his pitching performances have gone, it's typically about 5 fantastic innings in one inning where it's a home run and maybe a double. And that kind of inflates the ERA. So if you look through those numbers, I think he's still on track, just like he was last year, to get to the major league level. And it's another opportunity to watch the Clingstones at Synovus Park. What else do you want? What else could we ask for? Huh?
Well, Jack, we always appreciate the terrific job that you do. And oh, by the way, will you let everybody know out there where they can catch the game at 7:05 tonight?
SportsVisions 92.1, and keep that dial locked there. And Wake up, get in the car, go to work, and listen to DJ and Thrift in the morning. We'll just keep doing it.
Appreciate it, Jack.
Thank you, buddy. All right, you have a great
You
rest
bet.
of your
Thanks,
week.
guys.
All right, take care. Jack Johnson.
Love him, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's go ahead and take our break. You are watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HG2 Sports Visions 921. We are your hometown sports guys.
Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for waking up with the Sports Visions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer. Catch me at 9 a.m. every weekday morning, right here on Sports Visions 92.1.
Good morning. I'm Rex Castillo. Here's a look at your morning headlines. Nearly 6 years after 19-year-old Anaya Blanchard was murdered, the man accused in her death appeared in court. A judge says it's time to move the case forward for Ibrahim Yazid, despite the defense request to delay the trial until 2026. Prosecutors say they'll be ready when a date is set. Two men, Kelvin Traylor and Reginald Kimbrough, have been indicted on federal charges after a joint investigation into fentanyl trafficking in Columbus. Investigators say Kimbrough led the operation and also faces gun charges as a convicted felon. Columbus police are actively searching for 20-year-old Thomas Reeves, who's wanted for both misdemeanor and felony shoplifting, as well as escape. He was last seen Monday around 4 p.m. near Talbotton Road. Anyone with information is urged to contact 911 or the Columbus Police Department. From WRBL News 3, I'm Rex Castillo. Have a great rest of your day.
Good Wednesday morning. We're off to a very warm start with readings in the mid to upper 70s under a few clouds. And today we do have that heat advisory in effect until this evening for heat index values over the century mark. And those highs, the air temperature reaching the upper 90s again today. This afternoon and evening, rain is back in the forecast. Some of those storms becoming strong to severe. Tonight, mostly cloudy and warm, lows in the mid-70s. More seasonal with afternoon chances of rain in the extended forecast.
Lori's Furniture Express, your express way to save.
It's summertime, and that means it's time for cookouts and company relaxing outside. So that means it's time for you to pay a visit to Goree's luxurious outdoor patio. Shop their beautiful outdoor furniture that's made to last season after season. Sofas, love seats, and even outdoor recliners. And that's only at Goree's Furniture, Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
At Cartoons Car Stereo in Columbus, buy it today, get it installed today. That's right, same day installation. Cartoons, Rockford Fosgate products, stereo head units, amps, speakers, speaker boxes, alarms, remote starts, navigation units, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and so much more. Get same day installation today. Call or stop by today for details. Cartoons on Veterans Parkway in Columbus.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
4th of July savings are here at the Home Depot with up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $600 off select appliances with free delivery like GE Profile. Simplify your routine with GE Profile appliances. From refrigerators with autofill pitchers and multiple dispensing options to all-in-one washer-dryer combos that can wash and dry a full load in under 2 hours. Shop 4th of July savings on top brand appliances now at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid June 18th through July 9th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
You're listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show, brought to you by Global Diagnostic Services and the Finley Firm. Now back to DJ and Thrift on Sports Visions 92.1.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones Thrift Barringer. Big shout out to, of course, our guy Jack Johnson with the Columbus Clingstones. But right now, we're going to go ahead and take it live over to Otis Spencer Stadium. That's where, of course, the 7-on-7 tournament will go on. Let's go ahead and bring Richard up. Richard, how are you?
Big Rich.
Yeah, doing great, Thrift, DJ. I know that I left the studio. I went and grabbed something to eat, and I headed to – it's about 10 minutes away from the studio here at Otis Spencer. I want to appreciate Stephen Campbell for letting me up into the press box. It's already hot out there. It's not even 9 o'clock. And
it's unreal.
Yeah, Shaw is already here. I don't know who they're playing, but the teams are starting to get here, and they're going to be kicking things off in just a bit. I'm actually here up in the press box. I'm getting ready to set up my equipment, and we should be ready for 6 just incredible teams going at it in the 7-on-7 tournament.
So is it true that rant that I had this morning telling these coaches to get you guys rosters so that you doing your streaming this afternoon and all day long, that you could be accurately call the names and of the players and as they make those plays? So was a couple of rosters lined up for you up there in the press box?
Not yet. Once I get my equipment done, I'm actually going to be fishing for those rosters. But yes, Stephen Campbell actually let me up in the press box there. I don't think there's going to be a PA announcer. They got to be somebody that's running the clock. So there'll be somebody up in with the PA area. But I'm going to go ahead and get those rosters as soon as I can.
Absolutely. Hey, we appreciate you, big guy. Hey, look forward to, of course, hearing from you tomorrow as all the action today unfolds.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait to get back in the studio with you guys on the SportsVisions. Thank you. Thank you again.
Real quick, who are the teams that are playing today?
All right, so we got Shaw, Smith Station, Columbus, Jordan, Harris County, Spencer, Thrift. Am I leaving anybody off?
Nope, that's all of them in the first game, 9:30 this morning.
Wow. All right.
All right.
Richard, thank you so much, my friend.
I appreciate it, Thrift. DJ, thank you so much.
All right. We'll go from Otis Spencer Stadium to one of the hardest working men.
There he
sports.
is.
That's him. I got Sam Crenshaw. What's up, man? Good morning.
Man, good morning. How you guys doing? You guys are moving this morning.
Hey, man, we do it. That's the only way we know how to do it, man. You actually, you taught me that, man. Listen, all of the doggone different things that you were doing and I was following, man, I stay busy. I want to keep it tight and keep it light.
You got to do it. You got to do it, especially with this heat going on. I mean, I was out the heat yesterday.
Okay.
Down at Woodland High School down in Stockbridge, Henry County, they got a big sports camp and girls flag football tournament going on that Shaquille O'Neal is involved with. And so I was there yesterday, and man, it was hot. But those girls were, because this is the first summer that I think the girls flag have been able to get out. We were always during the summer seeing the boys, during their 7-on-7s. But for the girls to get out there, they were after it, man. I mean, it was great to see that. Had several guys come out yesterday from the Falcons. 3 of their great receivers. Harry Douglas was out there. Julio Jones was out there. Roddy White was out there, just giving them some encouragement. But, I had to talk with them a little bit about what they thought about what's going to happen up at Flowery Branch. I said, I know you guys are feeling this out here. It's going to be up around 100 degrees. So y'all feeling like training camp out here today. But it was great to hear them. Great to hear some of the things that they said. One thing I'll share with you that I got from Roddy White, he said, watch for Kyle Pitts. He says, Kyle is going to be ready. So, I mean, he's been around him. He's communicated with him. He says, watch for Kyle Pitts. And what a difference that would be, right?
Oh, yeah.
The wild card for this Falcons team. We wonder, what is this guy going to roll out of bed in the morning, and what is he going to want to do? What is his new quarterback going to be encouraging him to do? And I talked with Harry Douglas, who is either, he's not too busy on with Freddie Coleman that he's on every day. He had a little time to come out there yesterday. And I said, what do you think about the team? And especially about Michael Penix Jr. As a veteran receiver, how do you help a young quarterback like that? He says, you be available, and make it right. And DJ, you identify with that. If you're a veteran receiver,
yes,
you do the things to make it right for that young quarterback. He feels like Penix should have a breakout year. So he covered a lot of his college games, but he said that was the thing he think as a veteran receiver you would want to do to help him.
Big Fred Coleman, I love him. So that's pretty cool that Harry Douglas, Freddie Coleman was the midnight guy on ESPN for a long time. I love Freddie Coleman. Now, I do got to ask, Sam, since you brought up the Falcons, what's the mindset right now, man? Because I feel like I'm kind of out of the loop because everything else that's been going on in the world of sports. Do we feel excited about this upcoming year? What's the feel around the city of Atlanta, the community? Are we saying, is it playoff or bust for this year's team?
We feel like Walker and Reese are going to make a big difference. You feel like what you drafted, you got the pass rush, something we haven't had for a very, very, very long time. And now when you talk about this team defensively, you can talk about it because you got some guys who are going to pin their ears back and be coming and putting some pressure on the quarterback and setting the table for the secondary. You're going to see your secondary be more effective because those quarterbacks are going to have some pressure. Don't forget guys like Braylon Trice and Rook, who we didn't get to see last year because of some injuries that set those guys back. Those guys come out and they're healthy, have a good, strong camp, be ready when the whistle blows to start the season off. I think you're going to see a big difference with the Falcons team. So for that reason, Thrift, there's a lot of excitement. for people around the area, enthusiasm for it. I mean, I'm not a hurry up football guy. Some people are hurry up football guys.
Yes.
I'm like it's a good cake. You got it in the oven and you got to bake it.
Yes.
And it may smell good down the hall, but you know, if you go and mess with it, it's gonna fall apart. It's not because it's not ready yet. You know? So that's my approach to football. Because usually we have a baseball team that's playing well. I said, well, we got a winning baseball team. Hey, I can follow them until the football comes. Well, boy, the Braves have put that to the test this year. These dudes, what they were doing this season, man, it made you make you walk out in front of a martyr bus the way they play. Because you know what they have the potential to do and what is supposed to happen to this team. But man, the last couple of weeks they really brought it together. And let's play more games with the Mets, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, for the team up top is a team they don't have trouble beating, and they did it again last night. So the thing with Chris Sale, we hate to see that. We hope he gets to come back soon, and we hope first of all he gets to participate in the All-Star game. With Ronald Acuna coming back, they're like, okay, we got some Braves that may actually play in the game, because several weeks ago I'm like, who the Braves gonna put in the All-Star game?
Right.
Nobody played well enough or anything. And I'm like, we're gonna host this big party.
Yeah.
And nobody from the home team gonna be out there representing. Now it looks like we got a couple of representatives, maybe 3. And of course, Brian Snicker is going to be on the coaching staff for it, and so people are getting ready for that too as well up here.
Sam, I want to take you back to the Falcons because obviously I know the guy that you are in the media and who you've become, and I know you got your ears pretty close to the streets. When and again, a lot of folks love you, you're beloved. But again, it's something about Atlanta. All of the things that are going on in the training camp right now, and of course, what you just said about Pitts. I hope that that happens, but. As far as the word on the street in this experience, the space of that community, the folks in Atlanta are a little funny about their sports, man. How are they feeling about this? Are they feeling the Falcons?
They are, but you know what? When you talk about the things and they're trying to still digest the things with the quarterback from last year with Kirk Cousins and who knew what when. Because as you know, it's just like the team, just like a relationship.
Yeah.
It's about trust.
Right.
It's about trust.
Yes.
It's like, so who knew when what? Who did you know? When did he know he was hurt and couldn't perform? When did the front office and the coaching staff know that he was hurt and couldn't perform? So that's a question that's still in the back of a lot of folks' minds.
Right.
We know we moved on to somebody else. We know we got a lot of money tied up in somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. We everybody, a lot of guys says, we knew we were in trouble when he started swag surfing on the sideline. but that's what's something. He got off to such a good start. Last year. We know how things end up finishing. But I think that's the one thing the team has to restore overall in the community. It's just trust.
Yes.
Man, if you got somebody that's injured or whatnot, don't keep putting them out there. We got a chance. We're in the playoffs at midseason. We're in the playoffs late in the season. At the end, we fall off and we're out, totally miss out. So I think that's the thing they're trying to reestablish. Just the trust, and the front office and the coaching staff, but also with the players. If you know you're not 100%, man, stop going out there cheating the team, cheating yourself and everybody else, because you got the fan base really excited last year about the possibility of being a playoff team.
Good deal. Good deal. Now, as fellow board members on the Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame committee, obviously, we earn good money from IJ, so we have to talk about this upcoming class. Oh, I wasn't supposed to tell. But man, I tell you what, that's a beautiful class, man. I mean, it from top to bottom, in the middle, it's a great mix. And again, in my humble opinion, this might be our most decorated class.
I think so, because we also get a Pro Football Hall of Famer, right? With Sterling.
Yes.
So I'm very happy about him. Very well covered him when he was playing over at University of South Carolina. I had a chance to spend some time with Steve Wallace and talk with him. And he and Harris Barton, I think, were two guys that I recommend. I said, look, sometimes we overlook linemen. How can we overlook these guys? They went to high school just down the road from each other, and they end up on the other side of the country playing on Super Bowl winning teams. And think about the number of players from Georgia that were involved with that team.
That's right.
Got a lot of Georgia players when they got McIntyre's out there with that team. Carlton Williamson, who's from Brown High School in the city of Atlanta on that team. A lot of Georgia influence on those championship teams for the 49ers. But I think, like you said, this class runs the gamut and covers a lot from the different eras And I think when people look at the people who've made it this time, they're going to be very, very pleased and happy. And I'm excited about this class.
Absolutely. From Kirby Smart to Walt Frazier to Cam Newton to Lindsey Scott. I mean, goodness gracious, it's Robert Edwards and Knox Culpepper. And I mean, wow, it's an incredible class, man. And I'm looking forward to it. I tell you, again, I know we talked to IJ, and I don't know if that Hall of Fame is going to be able to hold all of these fans, man, because again, you talk about Cam, and I don't know. This is what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the outfits that Cam and Walt Frazier wears.
Ooh, you know, you're talking those two. Now that's going to be a showdown, man. But those guys who's going to come in dressed the sharpest. I had one of the greatest comments for Walt Frazier as a football player came from Bill Curry. Bill Curry said they had met him years ago, and they talked, and he wasn't aware of the fact that Walt Frazier played high school football. And he talks about, you know, in the days when high school football was segregated in the state, and that's what it was at the time that those two players came along in the state of Georgia. He says, man, when I found out about him and I talked with him about him, and he talked about playing high school football, and I thought, man, he was from, you know, a certain part of Atlanta, and I'm from down in College Park. He said, what if we could have played together? He said, I think that would have just been remarkable. I would love to have shared football field with Walt Frazier and played football with him. So hopefully they'll both be there, and they'll be on the same team in the High School Hall of Fame. To me, those are the stories behind the stories. And as you well know, DJ, it's the story that we know, but it's the story inside the story that we get when we hang out with those Hall of Famers on that night.
Absolutely. And of course, that date, October 25th, that's a Saturday, normally the week after or the week before the Georgia-Florida game. How about that?
Yep. And that's moving. That's a moving target. You're right. The Georgia-Florida game. We're going to see it here in Atlanta. So that's not this time, but I think that next year they're going to play it here.
Yeah.
As they get the stadium, rehab down in Jacksonville. You brought up high school ball. Let me ask both of y'all, what y'all think about this transfer rule?
Hey man, listen.
Come on.
You took the question right off of Thrift's lips. I know he was coming at you with it.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, and I've said this, and I'm talking specifically in our area, Sam, competitive balance. It needs to happen. I think this rule will allow kids who in years past will go to another program, will stay somewhere that has maybe not been successful over the years because they don't get to keep the in-house talent that is around their school. So locally, I love this move. Now for the state, I'm going to refer to you on what you think.
Me, I think it's going to put the onus on parents to get their kids close to whatever school they feel like they want to be when they're in middle school. And don't wait until high school. You know, if you're in a junior program, your kid's in a little league program, and you see what program is there, it's up to the parents to connect with the coaches or whoever at that school and get the school get the kid in the area in middle school. You know, you're limited in the number of moves you can make once you get to the 9th grade. So I think it puts the onus on the parents. It's going to put a lot of work on the athletic directors, in the different school systems, and on our friends down in Thompson, who are always going to say, hey, we only got 12 folks down here. We can't do how many years have we heard that? Because there will be an appeal process, and some people are going to work that appeal process as well. But I think just making it a little different, a little difficult, and making it a little challenging for people to do this. And then we think about football in our area. I was talking with Gabriel Stovall last week. He's out in Augusta. And Augusta's become this basketball hotbed in recent years. He talked about if one coach moves from West Side High School to Grovetown, all of a sudden Grovetown's winning the state championship. That's a whole nother county over that way, but it's happening. And there's some basketball coaches in the metro area who are not crazy about this rule, who traditionally every year, move in 4 or 5 guys, and they're always contending for state championships. So, it's going to put, like I said, the onus on the parents to do that job, to get their children in that situation they think is going to be to their advantage. And if you're there in middle school and you see the numbers are stacked up against you after the 10th grade year, then you make that move if you have to do that to get your child to a place where they can play. But I think you make your move sooner now rather than wait until you're in high school and zigzag all across town and whatnot in the name of getting your kid in some visibility.
Veteran sports journalist Sam Crenshaw is our guest this morning on the SportsVisions Morning Show. And Sam, something's going on in Atlanta and on the high school football level, man. We're getting a who's list of coaches. I hear Cordell Stewart is the most recent to join or make it public that he's going to be coaching high school football. Wow. And Ed Reed is there and a plethora of others. I mean, it's kind of interesting. So again, these transfer rules, they might be coming in just at the right time, because some people might want to send their kids to play for these Hall of Fame or these all pro football players.
Yep. Well, Cordell has been involved with a couple of schools sometime. He was over at North Atlanta for a time, kind of behind the scenes. But he was there when his son was playing over at North Atlanta, so he's been over that way. And Ed Reed and Jamal Lewis over at Chamblee, where their sons are on the team there. And so people said, Chamblee, why ain't he up at Buford? Why ain't that Grace? I mean, because you know what, they want reps.
Right.
They want reps, and I think they're going to get that. And plus, Chamblee is a charter school. And so they're going to do well academically. And that's the other part we sometimes don't stress. You got colleges that rather give you some academic money than athletic money any day. We don't always tell people that. I had a godson up in North Carolina who was a really good basketball player. And, he kept saying, well, they're going to give me academics. Well, you want athletic scholarship? They much rather give you that academic money. There's more of that. They much rather do that for them. So I think those young people are going to be well prepared. I was over at spring practice with Ed Reed, and it was neat to see the young people really being attentive to what he wanted. And we don't know where this is going to set him up to go. We know he was a heartbeat away from the head coaching job at Bethune-Cookman, and some things fell apart down there, because I think he missed out on a great opportunity, and they missed out on a great opportunity to have someone with his brand down there as well. But you live and learn, and I really think people say, well, why is he the offensive coordinator? We're going to be on the other side of the ball. We know what he can do on the defensive side of the ball.
True.
And I think that's all the part he's going to come up, be there working with his son, but also better prepare himself for the next opportunity. So, you look for those things coming up. Cordell is up at South Forsyth. He's going to be up there with Coach James Thompson, the head coach. He's going to be up there working with them. So we watch to see what happens up in Forsyth County. That they have yet to produce a state championship football up there yet, and they got great facilities. They got all the whistles and bells and everything. We all know about they building the big hockey joint up there, and got one of the biggest land area campuses of any high school. I think Denmark is the largest one. They have a horse stable.
Wow.
Horse stable. So if you got a kid who wants to go to UGA vet school, how about the transfer for that?
Right.
Right. You think it's all about that, but a number of kids transfer for a number of reasons. If you got a kid who wants to go to vet school at UGA, you're gonna go to a high school, got a horse stable. You're gonna go in, heads up. So I mean, that's the other thing that's happening up in Forsyth County. I get to see all this stuff because I move around and see these places. but it's a cool thing to see. Draft night tonight. We got to know a little bit about what's going to happen with these Hawks and the trip. How y'all like the trade last night? How you like the trade? Kristaps Porzingis, Thrift, what you think?
Dude, you're taking the questions right out of my mouth, because I wanted to know from you. I don't understand it. Now, I'm not saying I don't understand the move. I get it, because you think if you're the Hawks, the East is wide open. Tatum's out next year. The Celtics are doing fire sale trade. Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers. It's the reason why the Bucks probably don't want to trade Giannis. It's like that with Philadelphia. What are they going to do with Paul George? Miami's not very good. Cleveland, they lost with their injuries. It's wide open. So if you make a move, you feel like you bring in a piece here or there, you could win. But why bring in a guy that's played half the games, hasn't played more than 60 once in the last 7 years, and averaged 4 points a game in the second round against the Knicks this year? I just don't get why they traded that. I know they didn't give up a lot, but I wasn't really big on the move. I think there could have been other moves being made, and I know they still have the draft here tonight. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, there's still room for some things to happen and some moves to happen this draft night. This could be interesting. Could be an interesting night for the Hawks. I do like the move because, first of all, he gives them something they haven't had in that locker room. Somebody who championship experience.
Good point.
The roster, since the arrival of Trae Young, has screamed for somebody with that type of experience to be in the locker room with them, and they have not had it. So I think to have someone, a big man who can face the basket and score, I think that is huge for this team as well. Defensively, going to block some shots, do some things. We got to keep him healthy. That is true. And for that reason, along with other reasons, I hope with number 13 pick, they go look over to Athens and they get Asa Newell. I think he's a great guy to come in and be mentored by Porzingis. We have him here for a year. We don't know what happens after that. But I think a tremendous example, a big man who's played for a championship, mentoring this young man who's been part of the basketball revival, if you will, at Georgia. I mean, we hadn't seen crowds that enthusiastic for basketball at Georgia in many, many years, and he was a big part of that. I know people hate to see him move on, but wouldn't it be nice to see him make his way down 316 to 85 and come right on downtown? And I think it'll be a very popular move tonight at pick number 13 if the Hawks go for Newell.
You're talking about the players that the Hawks need. Help us understand the brain trust, of course, the new. They made a couple of moves and added a couple of folks to the front office. Are you familiar with these guys?
Ansi Salah has been there, and they give him the keys to the car. We wondered what happened when they ran off Landry Fields. Seemed like Landry Fields was like sacrificed. But for lack of a better word, we're like, why are you blaming it on him? But they're going with Salah, and he has a lineage with Golden State, which the success that they've had over there for a very long time. So he's come in and he's excited about doing what he can to lift this program up. They got a great product in place, and they need to strengthen their bench so that one of those guys go out, you don't have to fall off that you've had the last couple of seasons. So that's a big thing you look to see if they can do tonight, is really strengthen that bench. Like I said, you want some size, you want a guy that's going to be there, and I think Newell will be great to mentor and just learn. You still got Onyeka Okongwu. I'm curious to see if they hang on to him, if they package him and feel like and get something good to help off with some more offense, from him. That's the other thing we watch for. They won't want to probably draft point guard, tonight if they don't, find one in the trade. So that's another position they want to shore up with this team. But, we look to see, and they didn't let the Knicks talk to their coach, but I'm going to enter you guys. The Knicks want to talk to either one of y'all because, everybody said, no, you can't talk to our guy. I don't know, Thrift. If somebody say, no, you cannot talk to Thrift Barringer, he's not available for the New York Knicks, because all of a sudden, we just day by day, people would say, no, the Knicks can't talk to you about the coaching job.
Yeah, Sam, I tell you, you know what, man? Listen, we're up against the clock, but before you get out of here, why don't we do this? Why don't we let you share with everybody out there where they can find you on the airwaves?
My goodness, right now you see with 92.9 The Game, weekend mornings. Matter of fact, next week is we have July 4th. It's right around the corner here. Peachtree Road Race. Greg and I are going to be right down the front. So if anybody from down Columbus, if you got your number, you're going to come and run down Peachtree Street on 4th of July. Holler at you folks when you get to Colony Square. We're going to be out there. Also, we're going to be out at camp. We're going to be at Falcons camp the first Saturday of training camp from 9 to 1. They usually don't let us come out there. We coming the Falcons camp. We're looking to have a lot of fun. So if you're coming up, remember, Falcons camp is open to the fans again this year.
And not under construction. They said that wink, wink. They were under construction last year, huh?
Yeah. They ain't nobody coming out there last year, but the fans are going to be back. Looking forward to that hill packed full of people out there watching this team get ready and getting their first look at them as he gets set for a season that we're going to be excited about.
Sam, we'll catch up with you later, man. Have a great rest of your morning.
Thanks, Sam.
You guys have a great day.
All right. That's Sam Crenshaw.
Love Sam. Yeah. Love. What an interview. What a show. What a time.
Absolutely. What a time. Hey, man, listen, again, now, when you're talking about, I'm excited because he said he's gotten the word that Kyle Pitts is going to, it's about time. I mean, the guy you talk about physically, he had it all. Finally, he's got his, I guess, mentally, he's got it together.
This is year number 5. If it ain't now, when is it ever going to be, DJ? I mean, maybe it's just a mental block. Maybe he's like, with him catching touchdowns and passes, it's kind of like the Mets beating the Braves. They just can't overcome it.
I'm telling you, it's going to be a mismatch made in heaven, man. When you talk about him going up against these safeties, and of course, obviously, some of these third corners, he's got the speed, he's got the radius, the catch radius, and of course, with London and all the rest of the weapons that Pinnock has, man, I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too, and I think I'm gonna get my hopes up, and if I get let down again, I'm done.
Yeah.
So that. But that's what you get, Falcons.
I'm numb. So again, I'm gonna get up. I get up every year, and I get let down. So hey, why not? One more year.
DJ said he's numb. He's used to it by now. He don't care.
Yeah. But Thrift, I want to thank everybody that, of course, chimed in on the show today. Of course, Jack Johnson, the voice of the Columbus Clingstones, was spent some time with us. Tony Reese, I was glad to see, and we actually went a little deep and took a little deeper dive into the sports scene with Tony, and glad to hear all of his views as it pertains to not only the Georgia High School Athletic Association's transfer rules, as well as the portal and all of that other stuff on the collegiate side. Also, big thanks to, of course, you got to hear from a much actually, a lot of people had asked us about, of course, hearing from Pierre Coffey. Pierre Coffey is the new principal at Stewart County. And again, I think it might have been the most viewed on social media as far as we're concerned in the Sports Visions morning show. But we played that again. And of course, hopefully all you folks had an opportunity to hear it who didn't hear it. But just in case you wanted to go back and hear anybody that was on the show today and you want to hear this show over again, Thrift, how can they do that?
Yeah, download the Sports Visions radio app, Apple and Spotify. You can listen commercial-free podcasting and Facebook and YouTube. There is no excuse you're not a part and see what we do here at Sports Visions.
Don't forget that the Stones are at home tonight. Of course, if you can't make it down to Synovus Park, you can catch all the action right here at 7:05 on Sports Visions 92.1. Well, you hear the music. You know what that means. That's going to do it for this edition of the Sports Visions Morning Show. On behalf of Thrift Barringer, I'm DJ Jones, reminding you to keep your eye on the ball.
I need you now. Yeah. I find you, I give you all you need. I know what you like.
You've been listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer. Brought to you by Global Diagnostic Services and the Finley Firm. This is Sports Visions 92.1.
I need to give it all. I try to live, but I can't. I don't know why you're the one. Turn me out of my mind.